So, Charlie,
Oh.
I'm dying to know what was the first time you entered the doors of the DZ, the actual DZ, not the house, but the DZ? Give me everything. Start from the beginning.
The very first time I entered the DZ world?
Yeah.
Okay. I had an intro, but you're just
Oh,
gonna
sorry.
talk.
Go ahead. You do you. This
I'll
is
do
your
the
show.
intro. No, I'll do the intro in the middle then, somewhere.
I've been dying to know because you're an OG.
I'm not good with dates and things,
Yeah,
like our friend.
that's Ben's department.
I can describe sensations and like a gap of years probably. So I was probably 14 or 15. The first time I ever met Ben, I think I was in 7th grade. I met him and Eddie together.
Okay.
It just so happened that both of our families, you might have been there too then, were they had New Year's Eve at a hotel. And that's when I first met Benny. I knew Eddie from school, from Wilkins.
Okay.
I didn't know Ben, but I met both of them, hung out with both of them for the first time that night. And that was probably 2005 or 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't there, but there were definitely a few New Year's at a rando hotel pool throughout the years. But that would have been like a too cool for school kind of period for me, where just, I was early 20s and just kind of...
You were early 20s in 2006?
Oh my God, 2006 was like, I think I peaked in 2006.
What
no.
the heck?
Yeah, I was like 21. Yeah. I'm old, man.
I forget.
Yeah. So then that's when you met Ben. When did you first, that door opened?
Then I met him again, probably...
But wait. Why were you there?
Why was I there?
Yeah.
Larry invited me to Ben's. They had been friends through high school. They were fast friends, I imagine, in high school.
Yeah.
Larry must have been a freshman when Ben was a junior.
Okay.
Yeah, because then I went to high school with all of Larry's class, who I befriended, and everyone who comes with.
Now, how'd you meet Larry?
He sort of accosted me. Sort of just approached out of the dark and befriended me. Like maybe he had his eye on me or something.
Okay.
I think so.
I like that as a describer. He accosted you. So, okay, the door opened.
The door opened. So some of the warmest feeling I've ever felt in all of my life was when I met Larry's mother, Mary Lou, for the first time. Larry invited me over to his house, and I was living just a few blocks away at the time. And I walked over and knocked on the front door. Larry wasn't there, but his mom immediately just invited me in and was just so sweet and kind and good-hearted and just loving. I think she gave me a hug goodbye. I was like, holy shit, this family is crazy.
She accosted you.
She accosted me. That's where it comes from, I guess. Yeah.
So, oh, wow. There's nothing like that feeling.
I know.
A motherly love.
Yeah.
And when you feel it from someone that's not your mother, it kind of messes with you, or for me at least, because I felt that a few times from other people that weren't my mom.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh, not that my mom never loved me, but it was like, oh, there's a new version of that, and it's better.
It's somehow more sincere. I don't know.
Yeah,
Or
right.
you believe
Yeah,
it to be more sincere.
yeah,
Because it's from outside.
yeah. But I think you're tricking yourself, maybe, like a grass is always greener kind of thing, even though it might not be. So the door opened at the DZ.
Yeah. That was probably summer 2008.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Probably.
Was it still just one room at that time, or was it extended a little?
Just the front room and the side room.
Okay.
The back room was there. The back room was there, but no fireplace.
Okay.
So.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Man, you are. Did you ever watch Sons of Anarchy?
No.
Oh man, I was gonna say you're a Redwood original when it comes to
Redwood
DZ.
original?
You're just an OG DZ.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
It was for a million reasons, but as soon as I met Ben and Larry, like we've been such, I don't know how to explain it. Like there's beyond words at this point, brothers.
Yeah,
since,
yeah.
thousands of hours.
Yeah. I have other questions, but you do you.
You
I'm
do
sorry.
me? Okay, so Matt Bauer,
Oh boy.
our guest. So I'm struggling with my third thing because I don't want to just revert to the DZ mention. So you're gonna help me out with the third thing here. So Matt Bauer,
Yeah.
music journalist,
Oh god.
podcast creator of the Friends with Music podcast, and then my third thing I was gonna say, infamous manager of
Oh
DZ
gee.
Fest.
Well,
But what's the third thing?
It's
What would you?
First of all, it's a
Music
miracle.
journalist.
It's a miracle that I'm here, because in no way am I creative or an artist or in any way like
Disagree.
doing stuff. I'm so far removed from that. Why? Maybe there was a time where you could say some of that, but I would say the third thing is I'm a dad now.
Dad. Okay.
Like
Yeah.
that's weirdly that's my first thing.
First thing. Now.
But that's just me.
Of course.
Which is, still weird to say 5+ years into it. It's still a trip. But those other, what were the other things you said? Those are nice things.
Music journalist and
Music journalist.
creator
That's
of the
what it was.
podcast.
Music journalist. So that's what I wanted to do growing up.
That's how I know you.
The part like going through high school when you're starting to think like, all right, what are you gonna do with your life? Like what's after? I really like music and I like to read sometimes but I never wrote stuff. I always said like there's like 10 miles between here and here. Like it never really. So I forget the year. Maybe it was junior year. I don't think it was senior year. Maybe it was junior year. I think it was junior year. There was an option when creating like my maybe it was sophomore year to make junior year. An option to create, my schedule, like what electives, what am I into? Oh, if I want to go in the mechanic field, I'll take a shop class, blah, blah, blah. The choices were creative writing, which, all right, or accounting. And my counselor at the time was like, "Oh, accounting's easy. It's an easy A. You'll totally fly. You'll crush it. Blah blah." And I was still at the time way too. What's a better word for shy? I don't know, like
Bashful.
or I wasn't fully in my own skin yet.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if I am still, but like, I was still in a shell. So I was like, creative writing, like, am I ready for that? Like, that's like going on stage for the first time. Can you do that? I don't know. This guy says this accounting's an easy A, but on the other hand, creative writing, that'll, left brain, right brain. I suck at math. What do I do? What do I do? I was just I just wanted to graduate, I guess. So I'm like, all right, easy A, I'll get an easy A. Take accounting class. What happens? I fail everything in accounting. It's a first period class, so I sleep through most of it. I hated every minute of it. I don't think I ever dropped it. I think I just effed it the whole time. Just F. Debits, credits, ledgers. I hated it. Meanwhile, all like my cool friends are taking creative writing and like loving it and like, oh man, that story was so good. You did a great job. Oh, thanks, man. No. So that's where not even to say like the dream died, but like it just, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not, I know life is long and there's still plenty to be.
You're taking stabs at 14, 15, freshman year of high school.
But
I get it. Yeah.
But that's so having having zero self-esteem and zero confidence in myself and zero zero support, like just trying to take every day, one day at a time, and pass and not fail. I just,
I get it.
I dare you to get into a 14-year-old's mind, or a 15, 16-year-old's mind. It's impossible. But, and upon reflection, I would have loved to have done that and still could have.
I mean,
and
that's what you've essentially been doing.
Yeah, and man, for the longest time, like, yeah, I still can. I want, like, there are things I still want to do and plan on doing.
Yeah.
It's just been, put on hold for now.
So something I like doing, and I know it's kind of like it might be critiqued as being like hipster and lame to do, but I've been using, because I've been writing now more than ever, I sit at the typewriter and read. Yeah. So, or write.
Yeah?
Because it's
An
just...
actual...
Yeah, it's that blue one right over there. Smith Corona. Anyway,
Dude.
what it does is, it's the best tool, in my opinion, for just putting ink on paper, which is like your thoughts, your inner thoughts. And it does a good job of capturing your voice, because it's not a computer and you're not deleting it.
Yeah,
You don't got the little red squiggles
Oh,
underneath things you
man,
spelled
yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
You know, it's just your voice in ink.
You do stream of consciousness, just go?
Sometimes, like, you know, I'm if I'm reading something or I'm putting something down or I'm writing about the work I'm doing, then it is just formulating, you know, random new thoughts. But
Where does this stuff go?
where does it go?
Yeah.
Right now, it's just being added to a catalog of a body of work I'm working on.
How high is that pile?
It's not that high. It's maybe, like, once edited, maybe 5 pages. Of stuff. It's not a lot.
Oh,
but like,
man.
there's a lot of volume. But like, good stuff, I don't know if there's good stuff in any of it.
Yeah.
But I made a similar mistake to you in high school, in that way, because my freshman year I took Intro to Business.
Oh.
And I never took an art class in high school.
Oh,
No, I don't know that I ever took a creative class in high school. Ever. Did I? No. I took welding but dropped it.
Oh,
or got
yeah.
dropped from it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intro to business?
Yeah. For some reason, my 14-year-old brain was like, okay.
Yeah, like, I'm going to be a businessman. Like,
Yeah.
who a 14-year-old thinks that? That's you
Not
know,
me.
That's
Well, I don't know why. I think, again, my arm was twisted, perhaps. Counselor's like, yeah, do this.
It's so crazy, and like to think of like yes, some 16, 17, 18-year-olds do know what they want to do, or at least kind of have a plan, or you know, my parents a stockbroker, that's my idea, that's what I want to do, or you know, but I would say the majority don't. And what, your brain doesn't stop growing until you're like 20, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are we supposed to design our future? Like, do you know who was the dumbest 17-year-old in the world at that time? Me. Like,
Yeah.
how am I supposed to decide that? That's impossible. That's so
No.
difficult.
Yeah, it shouldn't even be a question.
The only thing I had in my head at that time was like, where can I play basketball next, and like, how can I play more video games? Like, that was like
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
all you
know.
want.
That's
plenty
That's
then.
it. But I don't know. Yeah, so that's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's so school system sucks.
That's absurd. So perhaps you can tell us then when was the first, so this is actually your question. You ask this question all the time. When was the first inception for Friends with Music? But furthermore, perhaps you could tell us what's going on before then, even like what's playing in the car, what's playing in the house.
Oh, what was playing in the car? Because I don't have the piece of paper still, but I wrote it down in the car. On like I was like it hit me like a bolt of lightning. I opened up the glove box, found the first piece of paper and pen that I could, and at a red light on 111th and I do believe Ridgeland, I just jotted this down. We'll get back to what I jotted down in a second. What was happening leading up to that?
Like in the inception years of music in your brain. So your brain's growing new synapses. What's the first input you're getting? We're talking radio, top 40. What are your parents listening to? You know.
So, my mom used to clean the house every Saturday, like all Polish ladies do. She got it from my busha, my grandma. And on that, what she would do is, you know how like there was that era of speakers that were skinny and tall? Mm-hmm. I mean, in my mind's eye, it was like 7 feet, but realistically, the speaker was maybe that tall. Skinny speakers. I could picture it. Everything's brown because that's what it was in the 80s. The walls were brown, the carpet was brown, the couch was brown, and the speakers were brown. On her system was, I want to say it was a cassette, but I don't know. I could ask my mom. Was 3 things. Prince, Purple Rain, which that album is in my DNA. There's not a bad note on that record. There was George Michael. I forget the album, if the album's called Faith, but it's the big one that's got the song Faith on it and many other hits. That one's not fully in my DNA, but I get very nostalgic for it. And the third one was Milli Vanilli. I don't know if you're familiar with Milli Vanilli.
Very vaguely.
There's a great behind the music VH1 thing about Milli Vanilli, or a quick peruse on Wikipedia is so worth it. Milli Vanilli were two dudes. I believe they were both German. Maybe one was French, but I do know one was German. Rob and Fab, and they were good-looking fellas that could dance and smile, and they looked great on stage, but they couldn't sing a lick. So the producers or whoever, the puppet masters, decided, like, all right, we'll get them to lip sync these amazing pop tunes. This is mid to late 80s, and they did. And the singles that were out were just perfect pop fodder, just perfect 80s pop tunes, and they were amazing. And the dudes danced and sang in the music videos, and they had little moves that they did, and they got really, really popular. Like platinum levels of, the one album was huge. They were everywhere. And they're touring and doing this stuff live and just fooling everyone. Until one day, when they're playing a live show, maybe in Australia. For some reason, I think it's in Australia, but I don't know if that's true. But they're playing a live show, and the tape skips live, and it was during the song "Girl, You Know It's True." And there's a great part in the documentary where the dude's like, "Girl, you know it's, girl, you know it's, girl, you know," and they're just on stage like, okay, what do we do? And that was the downfall. So anyway, those three things were played, I want to say, every Saturday. And and I didn't know that it was affecting me. I didn't know I was absorbing it so much. A lot of the times I was outside while she was, inside cleaning. But especially the Prince, like, you don't know why you like these songs. You don't know why a hook hooks you, especially when you're 5, years old, 4 years old. I would maybe even less, 3. But that, and in the car, when you're driving with your parents, you have no choice. Maybe nowadays kids have choices because they run households, but you know what I mean. You had no choice. You listened to what your parents had on, and that was it. And it was usually just the terrestrial radio. And I loved, when I heard a song that I liked or that I knew that my mom liked, I loved trying to remember it. And when that song came back on, I'd be like, "Mom, this is Aerosmith. Mom, this is Pink Floyd." And she'd be like, yeah, you got that. And I would get, I'd feel good from that. And when my son does that to me today, "Dad, this is Rammstein. Dad, this is the Gorillaz." Like, it's such a proud moment. Like, I'm like, wow, the circle of life, man.
Wow, yeah.
It, like Lion King was right. Like, it's beautiful. And so in the car, hearing these songs and remembering them, I think is, if you flash forward to when I'm getting into my own music, wanting to read all the liner notes, the CD booklet and all that, and learn as much as you possibly can about everything, because, there was no internet and stuff. So all that you had to go on this CD was what was in that booklet. And if they chose not to print the lyrics, or they chose not to thank other bands, and that was it, So one of my favorite things to do as a kid, and even now I don't do it as much, is to get the lyrics and read them as the songs are playing, as the album's playing. Read the entire thing with the music. And, oh, that's what he says, or, oh, that's that turn of phrase, or, and just blows your mind minute after minute.
Were you doing that with records when you were a kid too? Were you like grabbing CDs and flipping through the CD jacket?
The earliest I could remember the first CD we owned was Beastie Boys' "License to Ill."
That was the first family like CD in the
It was the first one that I could remember like was in our room.
Okay.
You know, like there's your parents' music that's in the living room or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that was the first one I could remember like, oh, mom was letting us listen to this in our room, you know. And that has a crummy CD insert because it's just like one page and it's just got like, you know,
Track list or whatever.
yeah, and like maybe some producer's notes, and that was it. There was no lyrics, no thank yous, no nothing. And like books can be written about that album itself, or you know, like it's so complex and amazing, and the story behind it's incredible. But so yeah, so and that was, I mean, it was 1990. You know, I mean, it came out in '86 or something, but I can remember it as young as being like 5, 6 years old, you know. But then like, yeah, always wanting to see the artwork on the inside and stuff. My mom never had records, but she had CDs and tapes, and then she started buying us our own. Like, oh, we want this or we want that, and yeah, always. So I got keep going back to high school, but I got in trouble in high school. I got my internet privileges taken for an entire half of a year.
Whoa.
Which it was my senior year, and it was kind of a big deal. It was the first half, and you know, you sometimes need the internet to do like projects and stuff. And so the reason why was because I would always azlyrics.com. I would always like find lyrics to albums that I was listening to if they weren't in the album itself, and I'd print them out in the library, in the media center at the high school, and I was printing out like, you know, new metal lyrics, you know, like Mudvayne and Slipknot and stuff like that. And I'll never forget, I printed out the lyrics to the Slipknot album Iowa, the second album. And I had a burn copy at the time. I didn't have the actual CD. I know I'm a poser. And so it was this song, oh God, just New Abortion, My Play. I forget the exact song, but
Wow.
those Slipknot fans out there will know when I say the lyric, I want to slit your throat and fuck the wound. That's how the song starts. And that's what the lady, you know, the printer would be behind the desk, and you'd have to be like, oh, I
man.
printed out some. Here you go. She just was like, oh, okay, here you go. Get the papers together. There's like maybe 3. Put a pin in that. Don't let me forget. Something came to me. So she was like, here you go. As she like kind of did that thing to the papers, you know, get them in. I see her like looking like, and she's kind of like looking at me. You know, I probably had a bowl cut or something, looking like a doofus, and she like kind of walked away from me as opposed to walking towards me. And like next thing I know, I was being called into the not the principal, but I think one of the counselors or whatever. Like
Your dean or
Matt,
whoever.
yeah, dean. Matt, like they thought I was like gonna do something.
Right.
You know, this is 1990. No, it wasn't. It wasn't senior year. I apologize. I think it was early. It was definitely earlier in senior. But they thought, you know, I was on something or something. I was
Sure.
just, you know, some dumb kid like getting into metal.
Right.
You know, and so I got in trouble for that. But I used to, when I would print the lyrics, you know, like if you copy and paste something, if it's formatted oddly, it'll be like 3 words in a line, and that's
Yeah.
such a waste of paper. You know, like one album could be like 12 pages. So what I would do is I'd go in and edit it, and I would like, you know,
Line it all
like
up.
condense it to like as little as I could. That's how into this stuff I was. Like I had to know. There were certain albums where on azlyrics.com, they didn't know what the guy was saying, so they'd put question marks in. I'd be like, I want to know what that means. Like, come on. And I've found that the albums that in that era of me, the albums that I did print those lyrics out for, those albums are like in here.
Yeah.
Like Mudvayne's first major album, LD50. You know, as like corny as new metal could be now, like that's in here. You know, Slipknot's first and second album is so in here. But then there's like cool hipster picks like Tomahawk and Faith No More, stuff like that. But those albums, like I should make like a compilation but like are so, and I think you can relate to
Oh, I've got albums, of course.
being in
Yeah,
your
yeah.
DNA. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing like it. Like, because those helped shape me, raise me, taught me what comedy could be, taught me what death could be, taught me what love could be.
Right.
Those albums taught me all that stuff. I didn't, have necessarily
Yeah.
someone to do that for me.
That's how lots of people find their voice,
Yeah, that's not
or
unique.
discover their voice. It's not that it's not unique, but it's intimate.
Yeah.
It's because
Yeah.
when you're alone, when you're a kid, when you're alone, or when you're searching for your voice, you turn to music. Everyone does. Like humanity does.
Yeah.
Humanity does that.
Man.
It's a really cool thing, but it's also very intimate and personal thing.
And because of that is why I wanted to start Friends of Music.
Okay.
Like that exact reason, because I think because when you're discovering these things and getting into these things, you think, I'm the only one. This is my secret. And then you find out, oh no, other people are into this stuff too. Like, whoa, somebody else knows this band, or someone else is into this obscure television show. And it's like, I still trip on that when somebody knows a band that I know.
Yeah.
My first thought is like, who are you?
Right.
You don't know this band. But then when they prove that they do, I'm like, whoa, there's other people in this world. And of course there are, like, duh. But yeah, anyway.
It's super neat. Imagine, and I love the feeling of when artists get to hear their fans' experience with their music, because then it's this thing that has grown like inception from their head, and then you get the the connection of something larger than you, much larger than you often.
Yeah.
It's wild. Okay, so now that we've figured out the inception of Friends with Music, I have a question for you. And
You got really good handwriting, by the way.
you're the first person to ever say that.
You do. You've got handwriting. You cannot commit a crime that involves handwriting because you would be found out really quick. And I view that as a positive.
You think so?
Oh, 100%.
Puts me on the spectrum of
100%.
yeah. So
Sorry.
I don't know. That's okay. Thank you for that. You're the first person to ever say it. So okay, a testament to having better handwriting is the quad ruled paper.
I was just gonna say, that's like a template or structure or something that you can use as opposed to just line. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find when I write, I start into it and just peter out by like the seventh letter.
What do you mean? Like it diminishes into little.
Like it can, but like the more legible stuff is in the front, and then I'm just like it just kind of, and then by like this track, I just started writing the name of the song. My hand got tired.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, it's all good. I have a different question now, actually. Then, what's up? Go ahead.
So when I was in my car on 111th and Ridgeland, the words that popped into my head was, how do you discover music?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what hit me. How do you? Because I always it even to this day it still trips me like how did you discover Paul Simon? Like, tell me that.
How did I discover Paul Simon? I think, all right, so I have the only reason I enjoy Paul Simon is that one song on that record. I've grown to like the rest of the record, but what got me into it was the Steve Gatt drum opening intro on 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover.
Okay.
And someone showed me that, like that isolated, and then I started diving into Steve Gatt. And then I discovered he was on this record.
Okay.
And then listened to the whole record. Eventually, I fall in love with the lyrics. The song. It's there's some powerful songs on there. And then Paul Simon just makes cool music. It turns out, like the Simon and Garfunkel stuff is, it's a little dry. It's a little too like '60s folk rock for me.
Yeah.
To hell with that. But his solo stuff, like Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes. You haven't heard this one?
I know
that
very
whole record.
little.
Man,
Yeah.
The two records I would recommend are Still Crazy After All These Years and whatever the name of the record, the album with Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes.
Okay. All right.
Those two
That
all
I
you need.
enjoyed what we listened to.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See, now that what you just did was the reason
Mm-hmm.
for wanting to do this, and I thought everyone's got their own unique uh, stories for stuff like that. And I started thinking how to expand on that, and then that turned into what it became. But yeah, see, like that exact story is so cool. It's super unique to you, and that's yours. That's awesome.
Right.
That's so awesome.
And yeah, music has that awesome discovery aspect of it because when you go searching, you're gonna find something often.
Yeah.
Even if it's
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you find yourself listening to bad music like intentionally ever?
Dude, this entire oh yeah,
Intentionally?
so the whole notion of guilty pleasures, I threw that out the window years ago. It's just pleasure. There's no guilt. I mean, you could just kind of say, yeah, it's a guilty pleasure to kind of like up your cred, but like "Steal My Sunshine" by Len, like no one likes, like everyone laughs at that song. Are you familiar?
Oh,
Do
yeah.
I have to sing it?
No, I know
Charlie,
it.
I mean, I'll sing it if
I
you want.
remember
if you really need a refresher, I would love
Give me
to
a
sing
bar or
it.
two, but I remember vividly the MTV music video of them riding the scooter.
Bada bing.
Yeah.
I unabashedly love that song. That song puts me in the best mood.
Yeah.
It crushes. I love the duet, the female male vocals back and forth. They're brother and sister, by the way.
That changes everything.
Right. But it's such a good. I love the video. It's such a great song. So what were we talking about? Sorry. Oh, listening to bad music.
Yeah.
Of hers. Yeah. Heck yeah. man.
Intentionally?
Heck
Yeah.
yeah. Like that Milli Vanilli stuff. Like that stuff sucks.
Oh, so
but
you
it's
still
so good.
You still will
Yes.
revisit it?
Yeah.
Have you discovered who the actual singers are?
I used to
Are you
know.
disinterested?
I want to say in the VH1 thing they say who it is, but it was like a medley of people that would do
Okay.
it. I think.
Interesting.
So
Okay, I
good.
thought it was just one person just not getting the spotlight. Like
That
that's a
story's
documentary.
so crazy.
there.
Yeah, the story's so crazy. But yeah, man, I like not only like I just recently was like, what's that song that they play in Who Framed Roger Rabbit when Donald Duck and Daffy Duck are going dueling pianos?
I couldn't tell you.
I looked it up and it was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
this Franz Liszt. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, but it's like a Hungarian waltz, number 2 or something like that. And it's killer, man. I don't know anything or care for classical music at all, but that specific song, heck yeah.
Yeah.
If it keeps your toes tapping.
That's how I feel about Minnie the Moocher. You know this song
I've heard that.
from that cartoon?
No,
Super.
What is Minnie the Moocher? Like,
It's a Betty Boop. The song's called Minnie the Moocher, but it's from a Betty Boop cartoon. I believe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
do you mind, really quick?
No, go for it.
I
gonna
won't play it on here. I just
No, it's okay. We've got a huge production budget. You can play anything you want on this podcast. So
Minnie the Moocher.
Minnie the Moocher, no doubt.
Cab Calloway.
Cab Calloway, that's what the name was.
Oh, get out of here, advert. So, how many of these have you done, Chuck? That was another question I have for you. You're a Charles Charlie Chuck. You're
Charles
one
Charlie
of those.
Chuck, Charmander, Charmeleon. You name
Chuckles.
it.
Give
Chuckles.
me one. What do you prefer of your names? Are you like, if someone calls you Charlie, do they have to earn Charlie?
No, anyone can call me Charlie. Anyone can call me anything.
Yeah.
Like, so, only recently in my life are people calling me Mr. Lunsford.
Right? How about it?
And that blows my mind. For a long time, I just wanted them to call me Charlie.
Yeah. Yeah. Mr. But you also have a good last name for that.
People tell me that.
That's cool stuff.
Super, like, dirty Louisiana.
You saying the word dirty makes so much sense.
It's just got a raunchy vibe.
That's so good. That's great, man. So I got a long time ago. I got into Little Richard.
Oh, yeah.
And like hearing Tutti Frutti and stuff like that. Like you hear those songs and they're almost like Tutti Frutti. Almost has like a children's song quality to it. It's just like wild gibberish mixed with like a swinging beat and stuff. But man, do I like Little Richard is one of my favorite
I love Little Richard.
artists of all time. It just every song is amazing. His delivery, you cannot beat it.
No one is making music like that any longer.
No.
I think that maybe Bruno Mars comes close, but even still, not
Well, he's
like,
doing a Michael Jackson impression.
Mm-hmm.
Who is doing like, you know, it all kind of derives from something, but that's interesting.
That's who I think of when I think of contemporary.
Yeah,
Little Richard. But Little Richard fucking slaps, dude. Like, I love watching videos of him.
Oh, the best.
Yeah.
The best. His biography is amazing. Biography.
Yeah.
Came out in like I want to say like the mid 80s or so, maybe early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so good. I've read it so many times. It's amazing if you happen to find it.
When's the last time you went down a James Brown rabbit hole of videos or music?
See, I those guys like James Brown, Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis, I know they're not really similar, but they kind of are. In my head, I just go back to Little Richard.
Really?
But James Brown, though, that Apollo, that one record, that Live at the Apollos, you know, you can't beat the sweat in that whole thing is so good. He's one of those for me, just like the singles I hear and I love, but
Yeah.
I've never really given him the time he deserves.
Fair enough.
The hardest working man in rock and roll.
That's true. I love his like his work ethic, that he has ethos around his
Yeah.
around his fellow musicians and performers.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's always super interesting to me. I've stolen that from him.
Yeah.
Shoes Einstein, pay a fine. Forget your bow tie, pay a fine. It's part of my
that's
classroom
awesome.
management.
That's so good. That's so good. He has a Hall of Fame mugshot too.
Oh, does he?
It's
Oh,
really
yeah, I've seen
good.
it. Yeah, hair's a mess.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of a heavy question, but it will set us up for the future, perhaps. And because of the DZ and the relationship you have to it and the culture of it and the friendships from it, with the way things have gone and are intended to go, I have a question for you. So, do you think you would prefer to lose all of your old memories
Oh no.
or not be able to make new ones?
Oh man, that's like the nostalgia argument, in a way. Like,
In a way, yeah, very much.
to lose. Oh my. I have a child, so I'd want to I want to lose my old ones.
You'll lose. That's fair.
You
because
know.
of parenthood,
But
especially because of parenthood.
yeah, but I do put importance on nostalgia. Like I enjoy nostalgia. I don't live in it,
Mm-hmm.
man. But then
Yeah.
I'd lose so much, man. No, because I'd have to go. What about you?
What would I do?
Man.
I think. Well, I don't. I have not the luxury. That's terrible wording. I'm not a father, so like I don't have.
You do have the luxury. You could say.
I have the luxury. I could can rebuild, I suppose, you know, or whatever. Like, I don't know. So it's something I didn't think about, or I was thinking about after I wrote this question was, would I still have like my basic education?
Oh yeah.
And so that's not part of it.
Then
That's
you have to
not
like
part of it.
relearn to read and
That's-
write
yeah.
and walk.
That's not part of the thought experiment.
Yeah.
But I ask because you have an enormous catalog of Friends with Music episodes. How
God.
many? 300 plus?
Yeah, I think it's kind of stopped around like 350 something, 360,
360.
somewhere in there.
And how many years did you do it for?
Benjamin would know the
Yeah.
exact
The dates, yeah, like
I-
June 2013 to
6. I want to say myself 6 years, and then Ben kind of extended it another like year and a half. Because I kind of had to decrease my participation.
right.
But 6 or so years. It's 10 years old. Was it earlier this year? It turned 10. Is that 2012? Man.
2012.
So 2012 to 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, 17 when my son was born. and about 18 when I kind of faded. So 6 years.
6 years. It's amazing. So, but this catalog's not available anywhere. So I asked. That's why I asked about old memories.
Man, it's all on a hard drive, and there's like
300 episodes, 6 years. It's a
oh man, there's so much. Like, if I'm being a brat, I'm like, oh, then there's not a single listenable minute on that entire hard drive. But like, truthfully, like, there's some good stuff on there. But what it all comes down to, Charlie, is management.
It's yeah.
It's the minutia of it all.
Oh yeah.
You know, like
Pinche minutia.
Yeah, right. Like
It's a tremendous burden, or can
Yeah.
feel like a burden anyway, with the weight of 300 episodes.
Yeah, if there were 30, all right. You know, that's a day worth of uploading, but there's a lot there, and some of it, like truthfully, like, there's some really, really good work done, and you know, some, if not a lot of it, deserves to see the light and the respect and the ears. But I don't know. You know, one day.
One day, just do an episode a week. Put an episode a week back up. You can
Like, drop them.
write about it, like listen to it. Maybe you don't have to listen to it. That's a lot of listening. You know, reintroduce your catalog. You
Or
have
what
an
if I
enormous
just
back
dropped
catalog.
them and just like as if they were new? Hey, new episodes dropping from 2013.
Yeah.
But that, like, man, episode 1 with me and Ben is really bad. Like, because
Yeah.
I'm the last person to be on a microphone, and we both knew. I don't want to say Ben knew nothing. Ben knows a lot, but I knew nothing. Didn't know what I was doing.
You were
It was-
entertaining yourselves.
Yeah.
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 At that point with the first
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
testing all the gear. Does this work?
Oh man.
Can we capture this?
Every now and again, I do go back and plug in that hard drive and just give a quick scroll
Yeah.
down memory lane. Like I got snapshots of so many things, so many good things.
I think the world needs it.
Well, what,
It's such a back catalog.
On
I mean,
what platform? Like, throw it on iTunes,
on,
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. It's free. You could do it for free on YouTube forever.
I don't like listening to podcasts on YouTube though,
Yeah.
which is the way I've listened to yours.
Yeah.
But the way I listened to yours actually was my headphones on. Well, through around the house cleaning and stuff. I was, but the one you did with the professor, I listened to the entire thing while playing a Hot Wheels video game.
Nice.
So I was building a Hot Wheels like racetrack,
Heck
which
yeah.
takes a lot of time and is super fun and detailed. But listening to, but like, cause you can't close your phone.
With the YouTube.
Like, come
Yeah.
on, YouTube,
It's
figure it out, man.
Nah, well, so the thing is, you got to pay for the premium.
Oh, you could do that with premium?
With premium, you could kill the thing and it still plays. It's a
Bogus.
feature for premium.
See,
it's ridiculous.
That's, man.
Yeah.
Okay, get off my lawn moment. Old man Matt here. Can we stop with subscription services and like YouTube? You have to be a premium member. YouTube
Yeah.
Red, YouTube whatever. Like
It's the only way they make
give
money.
it to us or don't. Like we don't need double adverts. And okay, you could sometimes skip them. Like, come on, man. Like, give it to us or don't. Like, it's so frustrating. But and that's such a basic dumb thought. But like,
Yeah, no, I agree.
but streaming services, like, it's just cable. We're just, it's a snake eating itself at this point.
The singularity, you know?
Nah, all right. So I'll stop. I hate all that stuff. I hate it so much.
What do you pay for? What do you pay for?
All
as
of
far-
them. I
You
got them all. I got them all.
You got
And I
Disney, Hulu, Netflix,
Every single- yep.
Spotify.
my wife has Spotify technically.
You know what I wish? I wish Bandcamp would make
Man,
an
Bandcamp's
app.
awesome.
or like a listening app. Maybe they have
But
that
like
already,
a-
and I'm ignorant to it.
Like, yeah, where you could, yeah. I don't know if they do, because you could just listen to that album.
Missed opportunity if
And-
they don't.
That would be cool. I do enjoy Bandcamp a lot. But like Spotify, I can't stand. So yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, but to throw them up like that too, like I'm a frugal person, if we're being polite. So to pay $200 a year to have them live,
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's why you do YouTube.
you know,
It's free.
YouTube is free.
YouTube's
Just
free.
throw it up there.
Just throw it up there.
Give it a thumbnail or whatever. Or not thumbnail. What is it? Just a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I could do that. It's just a matter of doing it.
Yeah, it's a tedious process.
How long would like 1 hour take?
Of just audio?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh God, too long.
I've uploaded the videos I've uploaded to YouTube are between like 5 and 10 minutes, and they take tens of hours at 24 frames, 4K footage.
man.
But you wouldn't be doing that so much.
Yeah,
It'd just be audio in
Yeah.
a single image. Just so they exist, because there's 300 interviews, 300 plus interviews with musicians, and these are not 30 minutes. Some of them are shorter episodes, but most are hour and a half plus, 2 hours.
I'd say it would probably average to be about an hour, especially like when we had, well, maybe a little more. In the first like 5 years, we included the music. We kind of chopped that because it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was that's I really prided like helping bands, like Ben too, you know, being a part of that. Like having like these were some bands, a lot of bands' first ever interviews and stuff like that. You know, like that's
absolutely,
really cool.
Yeah.
And to be part of to be a satellite of the Chicago scene was really cool. To be able to, in any way.
That's what I mean. It's such a cool archive of conversation. And then it's a tremendous feat as well to do for 6 years. Yeah. 6+ years.
We have really, and to put the music, we'd add if we were interviewing a band, that band's music we'd include in the playlist. But it was so much fun putting together custom playlists.
See, I forgot that you would even do that at the end of each episode.
At the end,
it
would be like what we talked about. I'd take notes and create a custom playlist for that.
I forgot that was part of the format.
And that was so much fun. It was a lot of work. Sometimes I'd get lazy with it, but you know, when of those 300, like probably 299 of them brought up the Beatles, because that's just what you do. You bring up the Beatles. So how many more Beatles songs can I? So I would look into covers or, you know, foreign language versions of stuff like that. So
right, it was your segment of music. Yeah, at the end.
That was like oh man, like I always wanted to be a DJ, but not, because DJs are DJs.
Morning personality.
Yeah,
DJ,
but to curate music is so much fun. You know, it's a lot of fun, which I guess, you know, a DJ does that to an extent. Man, Charlie,
do it. Seriously.
It's and that's the thing too. Like if I just did it, it's doable. Like it's not doable.
One a week.
One a week.
One a week. For the next 360 weeks.
Man, yeah.
But it would be neat, and like you can re-release them. You'll be revisiting them yourself, so you'll be discovering things about them. You'll have new thoughts, and you can turn it into reuse your the output you've already created. It deserves to be out there.
So you'd ask like, what would it take to do it again? And
I
blah,
did
blah.
ask you, what would it take to do it again? Would you restart the podcast again? Your podcast?
So I would love to. I would love to keep doing it, you know, and I would love to. The thing that's holding it back, that I don't want to do any of the work. Like if I could show up to a beautiful apartment and just be like, all right, friends of music time, let's go, and have everything set up for me, which is basically what Ben did for me anyway, and have somebody upload it, have somebody do the obligatory Instagram or social media posts.
You don't want to do any of the legwork.
I want to do none of that. If I could literally just show up and speak to a person for, you know, 60 to 90 minutes and then call it a day. Yeah. Which I know is like it's no one would ever just, hey, I'll do that for you, Matt. You know, editing podcasts is so, especially when it's yours, because you got to listen to yourself. I used to edit the early days. I would listen to every minute. Yeah. And just edit it. When I eventually learned, I could skip forward as I'm editing. I don't have to listen to every minute. And then I eventually learned how to edit as the interview is going on. So instead of asking, like, if the interview's going on and this person's talking about stuff, instead of asking a question that I know will be edited, which I do that all the time, like a personal question.
Oh, you would
or
cut
whatever.
questions?
I would, yeah.
Okay.
But then I learned how to just self-edit. Like, in my head, as the interview's going, I'm like, don't ask about that because it might not be as interesting as asking about this. Or, you just
Yeah,
kind
of course.
or even stuff like this. Don't do.
I'm going to cut this. This is getting cut. This just added 25 seconds to my workflow. You son of a bitch.
Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many of those things.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why I don't edit these. I just let it roll.
That's the way to go, but sometimes it needs it. The stupid stuff that would come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
But in a way, it was fun. But yeah, if I could get like a producer to just be like, this is what I do,
Yeah.
that would be awesome. Then hey, all the worst
Yeah.
in for him. But I know that's impossible because Ben did a lot. He did so much, and he would try to teach me, and I would try to learn. But I got a free college course from him weekly.
Oh, yeah.
And did nothing with it. Like, Matt, this is an XLR cable. Okay, that's cool. This is how you wind it? No, Matt, you wind it like this. Oh, okay. Like, don't
Right.
your P's. Like, sorry, God. Plosives.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much stuff that I just didn't learn, or even editing. Like, he had, not Pro Tools. What was the one he uses? Logic.
Yeah.
Logic, and even like the video editing. I could have easily just sat down with him and be like, "Hey, Ben, teach me everything," and I could, who knows
Yeah.
what could have come of that. But nope, I remember none of it.
Learn it now. Screw it.
Man, yeah, I got ideas of other podcasts I want to do too. Which
Other
will probably,
thematic things?
Yeah.
Like what? What else would you do?
oh, I can't give it away.
You can't give it away,
John.
what?
Someone like grabs from him. I don't
All
know.
right, tell me off mic.
I love the Beastie Boys. And I think there should be a Beastie Boys podcast. I don't know if I'm
Just
the
to
one
be,
to
like,
do
just
that.
like a
But I have
10-parter or something?
I have a specific idea
Mhm.
of what to do with it.
Okay.
That I mean,
Even that doesn't excite you enough to...
oh man, I think about it every day. Or like I have so many recordings of my son and I talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like I haven't done it in a while, but I try to, when I'm tucking him in, talk to him, ask him some questions, and so I want to like
That's super cool.
a
Yeah,
like a
continue to
me and
do
him
that.
kind of podcast. That'd be so fun. It would just be for us because, no one who
Mhm.
knows or who cares. But like,
So if you were to redo a podcast, that's what I would encourage you to do anyway. Just to change the format, do it slightly different, make it more episodic, more do you listen to or have you ever listened to just the NPR shows before?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
with like I'm not
Like,
suggesting
all songs
you.
considered and
Yeah.
or what's the guy, Bob Boylan.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think of NPR is the music side of it. I've never always Serial's an NPR
Serial's
thing, isn't
NPR.
it? Yeah.
But the way that it's episodic, like there's a definitive end.
Like oh man, yeah.
As that could
Yeah.
even be a good way to reintroduce your old podcast. With a new episode, you get an archived episode.
Like there's so many podcasts of like people are rewatching The Office and talking about every episode. Like
Yeah.
re-listening to Friends of Music and then talking about that'd be the most boring podcast in the
No, it would
world.
not.
Man, but no, I do have like a bunch of ideas, man.
Did you listen to that one, the podcast, the Office podcast by?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I listened up until like season 3 and I just couldn't
Yeah,
keep up.
That
Like,
was a highly produced one, like kind of too
Yeah.
polished.
so and sometimes I like that, but like my music, I like it a little more raw, dirty.
Yeah.
So here's something I think about, and it's very selfish and ego big-headed.
Yeah.
But everyone does a show about like, tell me how you got into this. Tell me about your earliest this. I feel like I was on the forefront of some of that in 2012, like asking about your earliest music memories. Like
I think so.
everyone wants to know the origin of everything, and I'm so down for that. I love that, but I'm kind of like, hey man, I was an innovator. I was a trailblazer.
You certainly were, and that's another reason here.
That got 4 listeners a week.
2012. When did Marin start his podcast?
It was definitely earlier than that.
2009, 2008.
Yeah, 9, 10,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. 11? I don't know. I'm sure that information is gettable. But
Oh,
he
yeah.
was a bit of an inspiration because I was into him, like, not to be like, the cool guy, but I was into him, like, I started subscribing episode 10,
Wow.
20, like, early.
Mm-hmm.
I've since unsubscribed. Nothing that he did. It's a lot. Listening to podcasts is like a full-time job sometimes. So he is in the
Yes.
category for me now of if there's an interesting guest, I will listen to that episode.
Fair
He's
enough.
not like an every episode guy for me anymore.
I was an every episode guy him for a long time, and
Yeah.
man, I'll never forget. It was like Saturday morning. I was mowing the lawn, like I would mow the lawn Saturday mornings, and I put it on, dude, and it's just him sobbing. I know. I was like, oh shit, I can't do this.
The open nerve that he was
Yeah.
and is,
Yeah.
at the time, I probably listened to the exact,
Mm-hmm.
like listening to the dude that was like trying to commit suicide by cutting his own head off with like a butter knife or something.
Who the fuck was
Like,
that?
oh man, that always stuck.
That
in
was
my
someone
mind.
he interviewed?
Yeah, I want to say that was the dude that did the crossword puzzles. Like he like created crazy crossword. I don't remember. It wasn't like I don't think it was like a full on celebrity.
Yeah.
And this was earlier stuff. But so many things like that are just people talking openly about trauma of some sort or things like that. He's where I learned. Marin. He talks about this, so I feel like I could say it too. But like I don't know what it's called, and I'm gonna butcher it. But like not having a father figure in my life as a kid. Parents got divorced young, blah, blah. So what I tend to do is when a male presence enters my life, I, subconsciously or sometimes not, I'm like, are you my dad? Are you my dad? Are you my dad? Are you my dad? So I'm always looking for my dad. So, and I can feel it happen in me. If I'm acting right now as if you're my dad, and if somebody else were to walk in this room, is he my dad? Like, and I would feel myself like acting to please. You know what I mean? Changing the way I know I do this. I'll change the way I talk in front of certain male figures.
Interesting.
And when he's talked about that, it just blew my mind. Like, that's me,
Describing that sensation.
That like armchair psychiatry stuff. But yeah, like there's so much of that he has brought to light for me that's like, wow, I identify,
Yeah, because he's so transparent.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the power of the podcast.
It really is. That's why it's such a good.
Do you listen to
interesting-
Joe Rogan?
I listen to Rogan.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Only if when he has an interesting guest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not so episodic any longer. I was for a while there when I had more free time.
What podcast do you subscribe to, if any?
My two most favorite right now are the Huberman Lab podcast. Familiar with Huberman? He's a neurobiologist and something else, subcategory professor at Stanford, and he does coursework on how to. He has protocols. I don't know that he's invented all these protocols or that he's discovered them through research for just optimizing your brain.
Oh man, yeah.
So it's like simple things. He gives you simple tools like protocols to do, introduce to your day kind of thing.
Okay, like wake up and make your bed kind of stuff.
Sort of more reflecting on your biology. Like he's a champion of getting 30 minutes of sunlight in your eyes upon waking, and like one of these guys. But he's cool because he's a huge music fan. He's a bit of a LA delinquent punk guy.
Okay,
turned professor. You want some paper?
As I was leaving the house, I'm like, should I bring my notebook? Nah.
Or I'll just take notes and I'll give it to you.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
For sure. That and Lex Friedman.
Unfamiliar.
Also another professor. He has some of the best character of any individual I've heard describe themselves.
Okay.
Just impeccable character.
Okay.
He puts himself through all of these trials. Like he
Okay.
tests. So his research is in AI, and artificial intelligence.
Okay.
He's actually a Chicago. Oh, so he's from Russia, but he lived in Chicago for a long time. He went to I forget which university he went to. Oh my gosh! But he worked at Fermilab for grad school. Maybe it was the University of Chicago. I forget. Anyway, so he's got a little Chicago in him because he lived here for a decade or so.
Okay.
And he asked those like really big questions of people doing like theoretical physics and abstract math.
Oh man.
But he's also a poet. So he's a
Okay.
really deep thinker because his research is in artificial intelligence, but very much like suffers from the human condition.
Yeah.
So
oh man.
he's a really interesting guy.
What do you think of our artificial intelligence? Are we eventually just going to be run by robots? If we haven't been already.
So what did I learn recently? Nanobots. That's what we got to worry about.
Nanobots.
Nanobots.
Yeah.
So like an injection
Yeah.
of things that attach themselves to different parts of your body to give you data on all of them. But also like, and then obviously the question is, can those be hacked somehow?
Yeah. Right.
You know, like of course that'd be awesome to get actual feedback and data on what's going on inside someone's body who should need it, but
Yeah.
not the case.
So I want to talk to this person because when you say that, I immediately think to myself like, man, we can't get voice to text right on our phone.
oh yeah,
So
it would be an
how are we
experiment.
doing that? Like
I don't
that
know.
drives me nuts. Like I'm sure there's an easy
That's
answer,
theoretical
but
at this point, but that's what they're toying with.
so and when what's his name starts talking about like he wants to, or maybe not he wants to, but he can see the end of language in the future, whatever, because like you'll put a chip
Neuralink.
in and we could just talk to each other by looking. Like, how is that progression? Oh, and then you could say something like, well, if you were born without a larynx or whatever and you can't talk, well, then you. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, but what about the other 99.99% of the world that can talk? Or like giving someone sight who was born blind. Totally on board for that. But when two abled bodies or abled voices can talk to each other, why get rid of that?
I don't think you should.
No.
I don't think you should at all.
But, or just having like Google in your brain, like knowledge needs to be earned to be learned, like
Yeah.
you know.
That, and also, are you familiar with? Okay, so we're talking like the ethics of it. Are you familiar with the Milwaukee Protocol and what you do when you get rabies?
No, please.
Okay, so
I have to know this.
if a human contracts rabies, it's 100% chance that you're going to die, or it was anyway.
Okay.
Until this protocol was experimented on, and it became 50-50 whether you live or die, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Tremendous improvement. Basically, what you do is you induce a coma to the patient for indefinitely, basically. And what rabies does is it attacks, I forget which part of your brain. It temporarily paralyzes a part of your brain, which is how you like all of your automatic systems like breathing and heartbeat and things like this. But if you put it into a coma, you like can subside the side effects of it with the aid of a breathing tube and things.
Okay.
And half of the time, people will wake up and they'll survive. The caveat to this is sometimes their body will regain, their mind will regain functioning, but not their body.
Okay.
It's a side effect of doing this protocol. But if you do nothing, they definitely die.
Okay.
So think about it. Like what bugs me about it is that imagine crippling someone, like paralyzing someone, but they're fully autonomous and aware. And that's a protocol in medicine to save lives. Now we're going to introduce some foreign object that could potentially do whatever. I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
That's and the ethics of the whole thing is what scares me most.
Yeah.
Because the first doctor that happened to, when he ran the protocol and they didn't come back, but then they saw that there was activity in the brain. Like I remember him describing like his fear and terror. So there's some humanity there, but
Yeah.
that's what scares me, and that's what's boastful and sort of ignorant about claiming that artificial intelligence is going to advance humanity in any sort of meaningful way. I mean, we have cell phones, which are kind of a clunky version of
Yeah.
attaching people.
Yeah. Well, we went from like Man, it's going to be interesting to see in 50 whatever years to see, like, do we all have like thigh cancer from our, phones being
Something
hair, ear
wild.
cancer, some crazy stuff. But like from 19, I don't, smarter people could find the year, I would say the year 2000 to now,
Mm-hmm.
the jump in technology and evolution in that field
Yeah.
versus the year 1800 to the year 2000. Like, it's like
It's
what we've done in the
tremendous.
past 20 years has been 20 times what we've done in the past 2,000 years, technologically speaking. It's insane. We're growing too fast for what our bodies can handle, I feel. And I think that's true. And I'm not a smart person, but like,
I think it's
when
true.
are we made to handle this stuff? I don't know. I
Yeah.
And we all view it as a positive. Oh, to have my cell phone now, I can do this, and the other thing. But like, I mean, if I don't know, man, is it
I don't think there's any answers in it,
no,
especially as humanity reaches for like what we are right now. Like the world is on the precipice of possible nuclear wars, and we're still very fickle creatures.
yeah.
And I think the whole world is sort of looking for like some sort of meaning, maybe more now than ever. I don't know. Do
Yeah.
you feel that way?
Oh, 100%.
So
Not only like the world is like, I think that we're on the brink of a civil war. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
this
most
country
immediately.
is
split down the middle.
effed, man. Yeah.
Pretty effed.
It's crazy. I think so like I think as a parent, you think like, oh, you cannot let your child walk to the local grocery store to buy a pack of gum by themselves. You cannot do that now. You cannot leave your kid in the back seat while you go in and buy milk. You cannot do that stuff now. Your child goes to the park by themselves, they're getting abducted. There's a 100% chance of that happening. He says, sarcastically, none of that's true. The statistics are out there that kidnappings are at an all-time low. There's all of that
It's
stuff.
a great time to be a kid. Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah.
But my son will never ride his bike without a helmet, 10 knee pads, and me attached to him. Like, it just won't happen.
Are you a lawnmower parent?
What's a lawnmower? I know a helicopter parent. What's a lawnmower?
I just
parent?
made it up.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. It's someone who clears the way, you know?
Gotcha. Gotcha. I
Yeah,
definitely have bits of that in me. It's weird.
I think probably a lot has to. Well, I mean, of course you're gonna. I don't know that I can't accuse you of overcompensating, but I think it's something that I would do. If
As
I was to have
parents,
kids, yeah,
we look to correct the mistakes our parents made.
Yeah.
Like, I can only speak for myself. That's what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Everything they did wrong, I'm trying to do right.
for sure.
To various degrees of success. At least that's what I think. Like,
What's it like hanging out with someone all the time
oh God,
and like just always with a question?
man. So they're like the lame cliches of being a parent, like being married. They're all true. Like, oh, my wife, she's a battle axe. Like, that stuff to an extent is true, or not true, but is accurate and
Yeah.
funny, whatever. Same with like being a parent. It's like, by the end of the day, if I hear the word dad one more time,
Yeah.
I might, like you need like if I'm with him all day, my wife works weekends sometimes, so I got him 8.5 straight hours, 9.5 with travel. When she gets home, I need like a release valve. I need to, like, let me just play a video game for an hour, please. I just need to, or sit in silence, something.
Right.
There's that part of it, which is not every time, but that definitely happens. But then, one thing that I love doing is for every one question he gives me, I give him 3 back. Dad, why is that building so tall? Well, bud, you know what construction workers are, right? They build it. Well, bricks, you've seen a brick before. They're really strong and hard, and and sometimes people can't build out, they build up. So like, from that to like he asked about the sky the other day, like why is the sky blue, and um uh, and then he was asking about stars and clouds and stuff, and I tried to answer as honestly as possible, but throw it back at him to
Right. Get him to continue
get
to
him
think.
going. Yeah.
Yeah.
To answer your question, it's yeah.
So I have a question
Yeah, I don't know if I
from that
answered
question. This is something I've been asking my students, and I'm going to ask you, and perhaps you'll find it useful because I've gotten some pretty interesting answers from it. Imagine for a moment you've done something, you've changed something, you've created something, or you've achieved something, and you're giving a speech to 1,000 people. What do you tell them your first move was? So this is something I've been asking of my students in the art class, just to get some get some fodder happening, and it gets really interesting answers. So you should ask Hugo this, but I'm also asking you.
So say it one more time.
Imagine you've achieved something, changed something, created something, yeah, and you're giving a speech about it. You have to explain what you did to 1,000 people. What do you tell them your first move was?
I think it all starts up here. So it's fine. Like I'd said earlier, there's 10 miles between here and here. It's traversing that 10 miles. How do you interpret what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
So the process of that interpretation, you have an idea. I'll start a podcast about what? What? I don't know. Oh, about music. I like music. I can talk about music. How do you Charlie Notebook that? Like, how do you get that out there? Yeah, I would start there. How this is what I came up with. Well, this was the spark, the idea, and this is where I started, and this is how it can be achieved. If you, I don't know.
So it requires a tremendous amount of first order thinking to do something I'm not good at, but that's why I like the question. That's why I tried to come up with it.
Yeah.
But in your case, you have something you could talk about your podcast that you've created, but the idea is for when you ask kids this and they have no idea, they haven't really done anything, they really don't know who they are, what their voice is, where it's going.
Yeah.
You ask them, so then they have to really think like, oh, what would I do? So it's kind of just a cool way to get them to think in it's a true thinking exercise.
Yeah.
So it's fun. But, of course, as adults, we attach like our what we want to do. So it's cool for adults to play with it because then they get to think about, okay, what have I been trying to do? What do I want to do? What should I be doing?
Yeah.
How am I going to start?
There's so much like it always bothers me when people say like, oh, if you want to achieve something, all you gotta do is work hard and do it. It's like, no, man, that's not it. You know, there's so much more than just if you want something. If you really want something, you gotta make that priority number one. You gotta be willing to sacrifice everything. Like, I don't know if I subscribe.
You don't like
to
that?
I don't think
What's
I do.
your working
because I don't know. Maybe I've just heard the wrong people saying that.
Sure.
Where they're saying that, and I'm like, man, you're from like the Upper West Side, and you live in, you came from something, so you can do something.
Right.
Like if you come from nothing, like a victory is paying the rent.
Right.
You know, if that's your victory, how are you supposed to like? If you really want, like, I'm not gonna be a football player. I can't pay my bills. Like,
No. True, but we have such a good example of someone unprivileged doing the work that they want to do, don't we?
with
Like, So that's like
yeah. Oh man, you just blew me up.
I'm just saying.
Maybe it's just for me.
Yeah. The
What I was kind of getting at with that is reflection. Like, is this what I want to do?
Yeah.
Is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this what I can do? Can I do more? Those thoughts creep up more and more as you get older and stuff.
Do you think that? So this might be a weird question. I'm sorry if it does something, but like, Has it flipped in your brain? 'Cause I feel like it has for me that, you were born and then you're like living towards something, but now maybe it's flipped where now you're living to the end of something.
Yes.
That happened for you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, when I was younger, I used to think about death, and it would just tears immediately. I don't want to die. I don't ever want to die. Don't ever want to die, because that's death, and death is no good. Now, I've had moments in my life where I'm like dying, like that's kind of like, well, that's what you're supposed to do, but like I could see the relief of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying today, tomorrow, give us 80 more years or 60 more years, 50. Oh shit. No, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
like I can see the relief of it, and I think about it a lot now. Having a child is the what bothers me, and what excites, or not excites, but is like beautiful to me, is like there's gonna be a point where I die and he continues, and it makes me think of like I don't want to be immortal, but it does kind of sadden me if like I'm not remembered, and not by like the world or fame, but by my child, like, because I think of my dad and his dad's dad and his dad. I don't, after his dad, after my grandpa, I don't, there's nothing. There's zero, there's nobody speaks whoever that person's name is anymore. Nobody does. Few people speak my grandfather's name anymore. That's just the truth of it. You know what I mean? Fewer and fewer as the years go on. And that'll eventually be the same for my father, and that'll eventually be the same for me. There's, and that saddens me, but
Yeah.
that's life, and that's
life.
a
That's
circle. And I don't know, like if like at my funeral, I think about my funeral a lot, because I hate funerals. No one likes funerals, but like funerals and wakes and all that is such garbage. I'll have to look into it, but like throw me in a science lab when I'm dead.
Oh, you could do that. 100%.
Like, why would you not? It should be mandatory. Like, it should be a law that no one gets buried anymore. Ashes, no. You could get some fake ashes if that's what you want in an urn. That's fine. Or you could have a little thing, a grave, but no body. Everyone's body should go to science. Imagine.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to be shot into space.
oh, that's a good. Can that happen? Is there a thing for
I'm
that?
saving all my money for it.
Because I know, like, the Neptune Society and stuff like that, or you could have what do they call it, a sky burial? Is that what it's called? Where, like, they just throw you over a cliff and let the vultures get to you?
Okay.
I think that's what
I'm
it's
into
called.
that.
That's pretty
I don't
cool,
hate
too.
that.
That's kind of sciencey, because you just go to
Yeah.
the earth and all that.
Set a camera up and
Yeah, right. That would be cool.
just watch, just get picked apart. You know what? There's if you ever go down a YouTube rabbit hole, there's plenty. I don't know that exists any longer on YouTube, but scientists working on cadavers.
Oh, man. See, I don't know if I could watch that. That'd be wild. Yeah?
Yeah, it's wild.
And just figuring stuff out. Like, and like you'd be like, yep, that
Yeah.
person was a smoker. Yep,
that could be
was
you though.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh man, that would if that were my dead body. Heck yeah.
That's what I mean.
Heck yeah.
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 Someone poking around you.
Man, because yeah, it's selfish to just be like, I want a stone and my own box. I'm gonna take
Yeah.
up real estate, and I'm gonna eventually.
Forever.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah, I'm not thinking about it too much. But space, that's what I'm saving all my money for.
Yeah.
That's where it has to go.
Do you listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah, a little bit.
The podcast is pretty good.
So I actually had a question similar to that, and that's another connection I think we have to music, is because, like, when we think about music and we think about our relationship to it and what humanity does as a whole, and probably another reason that we loved DZ Fest so much is that one is humanity. We like to be bigger than something that's bigger than ourselves, and music is the legacy of that can live on forever. And I think that's why we enjoyed those two things so much, because often as humans we think about what am I going to contribute, Like what is going to come from me or come of this? And so I think that's why, especially why you probably identified with music very, very young.
Yeah, I'd say it all the time on the show, and I mean it's not an original thought, but I like it. Is that music is music is a time machine. It's the only time machine man will ever know.
Yeah.
When you hear those songs, you're right back there.
Yeah.
And that's so powerful and so hard to quantify too.
So this reminds me of something earlier. We're talking about technology, and we're talking about how we're scared of it in a way. We already have a good example of this. The Voyager. You familiar with the Voyager spacecraft?
The
Carl Sagan project?
Oh, yeah.
So think about it. All of the world's greatest technology, rocket science, tens of thousands of people studying this for thousands of years, get us to this point where we can launch projectiles into the orbit of space. And what do we put on it? Art.
Yeah.
It's the only way to describe humanity is through art.
Wow.
So all of these innovations in all this in this field, it's all just to describe ourselves in an attempt to quantify and locate and identify. And my working definition of art, and music, of course, is part of that, is anything that preserves the human spirit.
Mm.
And I think that's very much what we find in music.
Mm. Wow, Charlie. Dang.
Weaponized with art.
Weaponized with art. Wow, all right, so when a song gets put on, what do you gravitate towards? Drums, guitars, lyrics, all of it, melody?
Lyrics first and foremost, and then the melody, and then I'll pick apart the bass and the drums.
Okay.
Usually is the intuitive way I do it. Sometimes I'll only listen to one instrument.
Do you remember the first song you ever wrote and how old you were?
First song I ever wrote was probably Just Words, and I was probably 12.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you specifically wanted to write a song?
Mm-hmm. I did. I hadn't played music at that point, but what was I listening to at 12? 12, I was listening to like hand-me-down music still. So my brother was into Slipknot a lot, metal, Slayer, and Metallica. He's still into metal. So Pantera, like bands like that are what I got at like 12.
Great stuff.
When I was listening to music on my own, it was that the trend of the time was like, emo music.
Yeah.
So that was me.
How deep did you get into emo?
Pretty deep.
Taking Back Sunday, Chodos.
Oh yeah, Chodos. Taking
Thrice.
Back Sunday. I didn't like Thrice. But
Atreyu. Or they're kind of harder.
I revisited some of it recently. None of it holds up well.
Silverstein. Yeah, that's tough.
I like Cursive.
Oh, yeah.
I still like Cursive.
Yeah.
I listened to one of their records.
They weren't really like... Wait, did you say emo or screamo? I'm thinking...
I guess both.
Because I'm thinking in my head of... But yeah, Cursive was good, right?
Cursive was good. And then who else was it that I like? The Used.
The Used, yeah. Bert.
Yeah. So those two, in recently revisiting them, still
AP Magazine. A lot of AP
press.
Magazine.
Yeah.
Wow. That's good stuff.
Because you probably lived through the worst of that phase. Especially given your trade at the time, right?
So yeah, so I was like that was like I literally think, and we won't know for another few years, I don't think, but I literally think I was 1 year too old for that. Like in high school, that stuff was really popping off, Taking Back Sunday and The Used and all that stuff, early 2000s, very early 2000s. That stuff was popping off. And it was like the people just under me. Like I remember being a senior and the juniors were into that stuff. And I was like, I'm not. Maybe it was just me. Some of my friends were, but for the most part, it was like the people younger. It's like my little brother, who's 3 years younger, was into that stuff. And I could not. So I could not. I just couldn't. I couldn't get into it. Maybe because I was trying to be too punk rock at the time. But were you into Taking Back Sunday?
I like Taking Back Sunday.
Do you remember the line? And, how does it go? I was talking about it with my brother the other day. And with my one last wish, I'd apologize for bleeding on your shirt. Like
Yeah.
you'll slit my throat.
Yeah.
And with my last breath, I'll apologize
Right.
for bleeding on your shirt. I remember that pumping out of my brother's bedroom and thinking like, whoa, man, that was a heavy line. Like, that guy's been through some stuff. Then you find out it's just some, like, you know,
Now I'm singing the lyrics to like,
like suburban,
Yeah.
white kid that's just being emo.
over dramatic.
Yeah,
perhaps.
the
Yeah.
over dramatic and then I like started noticing that those bands were just like it was almost like one-upsmanship. Like, oh, that person's dream or singing about suicide. That person's getting graphic about singing about suicide. Well, that person's singing about cutting everyone else's throats. Like, it was like this, like, how dark can we
Yeah.
get? Maybe those people were feeling, it's not up to me to judge, like, if they were feeling that stuff. But I was just more, I don't know,
Yeah, there's
didn't
like
grab me.
I agree 100%, but I think if you're to like just view that as a moment in music history, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
subgenre of
Yeah.
whatever pop culture was at the time, there's like I don't know. Do you think there's any gems in there though? I can
Oh,
think
yeah,
of one. I can
definitely.
think of one that like was us in service to humanity.
Which one?
Hey there, Delilah.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like
Okay.
like,
I'll agree with you.
that's a
'cause
product of that, and
yeah.
not that I even like that band or even that song, but like it's an earworm.
It's
And a
it is
well-written
a
song.
beautiful song.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's beauty in it.
Are there any
100%
like that,
agree with
that
I can't
you could pull apart?
I can't really think of specifics, but there are a couple of Taking Back Sunday songs that I remember enjoying and being catchy as far as the music goes. Screaming
Yeah.
is an art, and when done well is awesome. Not saying they all did, but some of the bands could do good things in that. But then I feel judgy, but whatever. That's what we do to music and trends. But the stuff I was listening to, and not that it was much better, or when I was that age, like listening to new metal and the shit like Fred Durst and Jonathan Davis were saying wasn't.
Yeah, but somehow that's held up.
You think so? Yeah, better than.
Better, much better.
Yeah.
Imagine like I guess no, they still
Some
do
of
like
those, yeah.
they'll do like emo nights,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah.
like tribute nights. Whereas
Yeah.
Fred Durst goes on tour. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
tens of thousands of people still pay to see him.
yeah. I think about it all the time. Like the Woodstock documentaries that have come out over the last couple of years are so good.
Yeah.
It's so funny because we talk about that the way like you talk about 60s flower power music and the 70s like cock rock and the 80s new wave synthy stuff. Like
Yeah.
that's just the
Nu metal.
progression of that. I love that. It's so interesting to me. I love that like that subject matter. And emo screamo, and I also worked at a music store then when that stuff was huge, and just like I think what bothered me the most, not the music, but the look.
The
I
look. Because it was an
hated-
all or nothing look.
Hated the look. That's so true.
Yeah.
I hated the look and how they were just clones.
It
But
was
you
a
could say
very-
that about any fashion trend.
Yeah, that one was
But,
especially on the nose.
Man, that one was difficult. When like, your pants are so tight to your skin. And I get a nice snug fit. I get it. That's fine. I'm not a fashion guru in any way. But to me, I would think, like, practically speaking, how does that make sense?
There's no
like,
practicality.
There's no,
Yeah.
yeah. But then, like, is a 7-foot mohawk practical? No, not really.
Yeah.
But
Slightly
yeah,
more.
man, like that stuff was so funny to me. The amount of like black eye makeup and stuff like that is just
Yeah.
stuff that you could look back now and just think was silly.
The theater of it all.
Man, so funny. What was your first live show?
First live show I ever went to, I think was Slayer.
Shut up. Did we?
Yeah.
I'm sure we talked about this on our episode,
I?
but
I think I was in 6th grade.
no way.
Yeah.
What year would that have been? Like Divine Intervention.
2004.
No, I think God Hates Us All was like 01. Man,
don't
so
know.
you saw some good stuff then at that
I
show.
didn't know anything.
Didn't, yeah?
I didn't know.
Where was it?
Aragon.
Aragon. Yeah, man. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
I didn't
Wow.
necessarily enjoy it.
No?
But I was like 12.
Why did you go? Your parents brought you?
My brother brought me, I think.
No way.
Yeah.
How old's your brother?
31?
Okay.
No. 34.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old are you?
29.
Dang.
He's 33 or 34.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Man, that's nuts.
Mhm.
That's crazy. Do you
Yeah.
remember anything else about the show?
Just being tired. I don't know. Just like fatigue.
That's funny. What was the first show that you went to that you wanted to go to?
First show that I went to was probably Warped Tour,
Yeah?
freshman year
Oh,
of
man.
high school.
Tell me everything. Let's look it up. What's the lineup?
I don't remember.
What year?
That's probably 2007.
Oh, this is
2008.
going to be so good. Warp Tour. Do you mind if I do this?
No,
Is this
look it up, yeah.
2007 lineup. Oh, thank you, Wikipedia.
That's just on there, huh?
This is going to be so good. Okay, here we go. Dude, like I almost want this to be a game show. Like, let's guess. Oh, shoot, this is.
I definitely seen. Who did I see? I saw Chiodos. I saw Under Oath. I saw.
Under Oath.
Who else did I see? Who else did I was?
Oh, that's so good.
It was more just the spectacle of it all. I think the first band that I paid good money to see
Oh, dude.
and
Newfound Glory.
thoroughly enjoyed was probably Modest Mouse, though.
Yeah, yeah.
But some years
where
later.
and when?
That was at the Aragon. That was probably
Okay.
like 2010.
Okay.
So-
I saw him in that range at the Chicago Theater. Maybe it was a little later, like 12, 13,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And it was one of the best shows I've ever been to. It was one of the first. No, maybe it was earlier, actually. It was one of the first shows my wife and I went to together.
Nice.
An early date. An amazing show. And at the time, I wasn't that into them. Not that I disliked them. It just,
Yeah.
man, was that a good show. It was such a good show.
Yeah.
Avenged Sevenfold.
I watched them.
Alkaline Trio.
Didn't watch them.
Bayside. Big D and the Kids Table.
Big
Biffy
D and the Kids
Clyro,
Tale. That's a name I haven't heard in forever.
Briggs, Chodo. Circle Jerks? You
I-
could have potentially seen Circle Jerks.
Damn, I didn't.
Flogging Molly. Gallows played.
Oh, no Gallows.
There's Hawthorne Heights. That's so funny. This is just one stage. Yellow Card, for sure. Unseen, Under Oath.
Where do you fall on Green Day?
Man, F Green Day.
F Green Day? It's still
That's
a
my-
contentious topic.
That's my initial.
Yeah.
Like, that's one thing I really find funny about music is shitting on music. I'm like, man, I've earned it. I've paid my dues. I could shit on these bands.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that way? Can you shit on music? Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
All right.
I enjoy the heck out of it.
I never got so I'm old enough to remember their Dookie days, like the stuff before that I have no recollection, but Dookie, when that came out, I remember the videos on MTV and the songs on the radio for sure. In 1994 or whatever it came out. I didn't get that album specifically until the year 2000. I remember I bought it off of someone who lived down the street. And I didn't like it. I remember the singles and liked the singles as a kid well enough, but the album, when I listened to it, for some reason, listening to like Basket Case on that CD didn't sound the same. Like I was like, it's not that good. And
Interesting.
and then and the singles are good enough, for the most part. But then American Idiot came out during the time that it came out in. And that's also when I was working at the music store. And it was everything. Like, that album sold so well. And I hated it. I hated it so much. It was just a classic case of, like, Too Cool for School, having to dislike the most popular thing at the time. I hated it so much. And I remember a friend, like, trying to sell me. I'm like, no, man, you got to listen to the symbolism and stuff. Like, no, get this out of my face. And still don't like it to this day.
Interesting.
Never warmed up.
Wow.
How do you feel?
I like older Green Day. I don't care for American Idiot either. I was a little too cool for school when that came out. That was probably like, 2008? No, was it
American
before
Idiot?
that?
No,
It
it
was
was like,
five.
yeah, 4 or 5. It
Something like
was
that.
definitely a reaction to Bush and
But
stuff.
I liked Dookie, and I liked that second record.
Yeah, what was that?
I forget what the name of it was, but it had like "Time of Your Life" on it.
Yeah,
and
Warning or
something.
Warning. Live
Yeah.
without. Yeah, what was that called? I could see the cover in my head. But I also was early into what I call, like real punk rock, like the early 80s hardcore stuff. That I was into early, like before, maybe not before Green Day, but like before Blink-182, I was into Black Flag. So
Okay.
when Blink-182 gets popular and like that's all the rage in high school, I'm like, this isn't punk rock.
think it's soft.
This
Yeah.
is super soft. Like none of this is punk. I mean, it is, but it's in my view, it wasn't. So I was always a punk rock snob, like admittingly, because I like the cool stuff, and like this, Newfound Glory, Sum 41 stuff is
It's
just
like soft new wave version of it.
yeah, it's just it was so lame. It was so like it was child's play, it was lame. So that also colored my views on Green Day. But like I always say, like, I like all music. I like every genre, all that stuff. But punk rock is where my heart is. Where's your heart in music?
My heart in music probably lies in Blink-182.
No, yeah.
I'm kidding.
Oh no, I just insulted your
No,
entire childhood.
but I
Sorry.
think what Mark Tom Travis show.
Yeah,
Just like
That-
blowjob this, blowjob that.
yeah.
When you're 12 years
Take
old, it's
off
like
your pants.
that's just funny as
Dad.
hell.
Yeah,
When you're 12,
that
and I was target market probably.
Yeah, yeah.
But my heart lies.
And what's the you? Oh God, what did Tom say that? My heart. I don't. I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so funny, man. That's
That's
funny.
not where my heart lies, but that's like my rebellious
Yeah.
like potty mouth teenage years, like
And as much as I, just shat on it or could shit on it, those bands are important because they are just a progression of punk rock, which is a progression of rock, which is a progression all that.
Yeah.
Like that's just. And if someone gets into Blink-182 and because of Blink-182 they get into someone
work
else
their way
or
back.
they work their way back, which
Yeah.
I'm such a firm believer in that.
oh, you have to.
There's so much value there for sure.
Yeah.
It's something I still do. But yeah, they have their merits. There are a couple of good Blink-182 jams for sure.
Yeah. I think my heart though, like probably it might be lame and cliche, but like 60s and 70s rock,
Okay.
like, Jimi Hendrix,
Yeah.
the Beatles,
Yeah.
Bob Dylan, especially. That's kind of where my brain goes back to.
Yeah.
The
That's awesome.
the origin of rock music.
Yeah.
Or, a portion of the origin of rock music.
So the Beatles, I would always say I'm not a Beatles person on the show, like just to get a rise out of people, just to kind of poke a little, like, Beatles suck. Whoa, what are you talking about? Nah, they don't suck. I know that. We all know that. Beatles are the best. We get it. But I was never into them. Still not fully. But it took my son being into them for me to finally be like, that's a good Beatles song. I could never really say that before.
Which songs?
It was
Or
Glass Onion
Okay.
was the turning point. Yes, Eleanor Rigby's a good song because it's just good and like, Yellow Submarine's goofy.
That one's goofy.
I like 8 Days a Week. I get it. They're classic, good, whatever. But for me to genuinely want to put a Beatles song on my iPod, it took Glass Onion. Like, man, that's a good tune.
That is a good tune.
I like it. And then from there, I'm like, I like Penny Lane's a good song, like Sgt. Pepper. Those are good tunes. I finally was able, and it took my son to do it. He taught me
An unbiased ear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He
Yeah.
taught me that. Like, how cool is that, man?
That's super neat.
And like I have a handful of their songs on my iTunes/iPod, but that's it. Yeah, I have a few records, but that's just because vinyl and whatever. But
Yeah.
I still haven't sought them. I'd always not mess with Steven, but like Steven's a big Beatles guy. That's how he was introduced to me as like a big Beatles dude. But man, like,
Just mad at him.
yeah, like
Who's this
come
guy?
on, come on,
could
really
do better.
Beatles? Like
Yeah.
go back to Walmart. Like, no, that's
You and your cargo shorts.
yeah, right.
The last 4 songs on Abbey Road. I'm gonna write it down for you.
Oh, please
That's how
do.
much I care.
Yeah,
about
please. Definitely.
That's,
I like Ringo.
I like Ringo too.
Last 4 songs.
That's
on
why I
Abbey
like
Road.
That's why I like Yellow Submarine so much.
That's a
Because
Ringo.
one time, our friend Jake was in a state, one of his fugue states, and in the refrain from Yellow Submarine, because you know they say it 4 times. They go, "We all live in a yellow submarine." Jake went, "What? What?" Oh, like in the gap. And
So you're Jake.
yeah.
We all live in a yellow submarine.
What?
A yellow submarine.
What?
A yellow submarine.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good, man.
I don't know where that came from, but that's
So funny.
that's why I love that song and continue to love that song.
So funny. Yeah, I don't know why. And that's always that's just always like another musical like conversation topic that always trips me out is like why didn't the Beatles grab me? But
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin did, or Pink Floyd did, or Rush did. Why did it take so long to get into David Bowie? You know, why? Why didn't I get David Bowie right away? I don't know. Like, who knows? But
Who knows?
Like,
Yeah.
Like Blink-182 versus your version versus my version. Like, why? You know, there's an infinite amount of factors that, you know, lead up to that. We could break it down, but that's just super interesting. That's
Yeah.
so. Also, okay. I see a record collection. You said your only means of compact disc usage is in the car.
Yeah.
How do you get your music now? It's all on the phone. It's all Spotify.
So seldom do I take a risk on buying a record.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy doing, but I guess now it's just through the Spotify algorithm.
Just Spotify, yeah.
Which I feel like I've got ahead of finally, because it's a really clunky app,
It's
and
the
I've had
worst.
it since probably I don't even know how long now.
Yeah.
As long as it's been around,
Yeah.
I've been paying for it. I finally figured out how to like get it to curate music I actually like, which has been hard. Maybe they got better at it, and it's a placebo of me thinking I did it. But I like to
did it, man.
I like to think that I've figured out all the features finally.
Yeah.
Like the liking song. Do you use it?
So I have it.
Yeah.
I'm primarily use it to listen to podcasts, and I never listen to music on it on my own. My wife has it. She'll turn it on. I get it. She pays for it. I just have the basic app on my phone, again, just for podcasts. And Steven and I were going back and forth, and he sent me a playlist of like, you know, the topic was like songs that are, you know, in your DNA, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he's like, you create one, send it to me. So I tried, and it was impossible to, like, because, you know, think of, you know, 50 artists. Like, I'm thinking of, oh, this song, and that song reminded me, oh, this song. It was so impossible to just type in an artist and get a song and grab it and put it in a playlist. And then once it's in that playlist, you cannot rearrange it.
Yeah. It's
What are we doing?
sequential. Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah, it's lame for that reason.
Yeah.
I did like how he, I stole this from him. His way of cataloging it was because he would just make a playlist and date it month, year, and then just as songs came up like them,
Yeah.
save them there.
Okay.
So that's kind of the best version of that. But like,
Yeah.
but you're right. Because if you're curating a playlist for someone and you want to rearrange the format, you can't do it. It has to be sequential, which is lame.
It's awful.
And it's ruined the mixtape.
Yes.
It's ruined the
art
mixtape.
of the mixtape. There's
Yeah.
a reason for that, you know. That my primary source of listening to music when I'm not in the car, because that's CDs, is my iPod. I still have a 160 gig,
Nice.
beast of an iPod, and I love it. It's like my fifth one because they break every few years, or
Can you still buy them?
like a
No.
brand new one in the box is like $600. Like it's crazy the markup, but you could buy like refurbished ones for a couple hundred. Last one I bought, I spent like, was it like 179 or something on it, and the battery doesn't last as long as it should, and it kind of is a little slow. But I feel like that's the best. iTunes / the iPod system is such an awesome, like I control it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the playlists are under my control. I can sort it however I want. Like I love that system,
Yeah.
and it's slowly fading.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
Spotify sucks too. Like someone needs to get on this.
Yeah.
The Bandcamp version of it or something. But the mixtape. When's the last time you had to give someone a mixtape?
Today.
Well, like with the exception of today.
Like I've made maybe like 10 for my son.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make him one of the gorillas. If he could be a good boy, one of his incentives is I'm gonna make him a Gorillaz mix CD. So I've probably made him about 10. I've made my wife a few.
Yeah.
I've definitely done that thing with like gals.
Oh yeah.
That's
I've
such a good definitely
thing.
done
That's
that
such
too. Zero success.
Listen, I
But-
pity the youth. Not pity. I whatever the word is. The youth are screwed. Like, how else are you gonna do this for a prospective love interest?
I mean, I guess
This
you
is a
could-
profound thing. This is like
Yeah.
a sacred ceremonial. Hey, I made you a mixtape.
dude. There's so like
Good
there's
luck.
so much like
Good luck.
like to get the courage to create it,
Oh yeah.
then to triple that courage to give it. Like I
Yeah.
made this for
I
you.
know.
Like I remember in high school, like it wasn't mixtape specifically, but someone we would like, oh, have you heard this band? No, I haven't. Oh, tomorrow I'll bring the CD in and you can
Yeah.
borrow it. Oh, okay. And this person gave me, I know the band and the song specifically if you want it.
Yeah. What
but,
is it?
The Union Underground was the name of the band.
Mm-hmm.
The song was called Turn Me On, Mr. Deadman.
I don't know. I'm not familiar.
The album was called South Texas Death Ride, perhaps, is what it was called. Or maybe it was self-titled, and the first track was called South Texas Death Ride. I could look that up, but the song was a good song. It was like I think it was played on Q101 for a minute. It had a really catchy chorus. Turn me on, Mr. Dead. It was just like an early new metal song. The album, it turns out, wasn't that good, but she
Yeah,
let me
yeah, yeah.
borrow it, and I let her. I had a tape player, and a Walkman, like a tape player, because I'd make actual mixed tapes, not just CDs, all throughout my youth.
Yeah.
I've also made my son actual mixed tapes as well.
Nice.
But man, tapes do not last.
No, they wear
at
out. They
all.
literally wear out.
Oh man, especially with a 3-4-year-old, like he just
Jamming it. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I'd let her listen to my it was like
I
yeah.
know,
I
such an
guess
intimate thing.
the nowadays equivalent is like, here's my earbud. You could listen to
Yeah.
to the new Lil Yachty song or Little Baby or whatever song. How often do you keep up with new stuff? Like how new?
I listen to both. Like I listen to records that are coming out constantly.
Yeah, like discovering new artists and all that. Like,
Yeah,
would you
constantly.
say you're on it,
I'm
or
on it.
or at least for you, like not ahead of youth pop culture, but like you're on it. You got this. Like
As far as consuming
new bands, yeah.
new
like,
bands, I don't know that I'm listening to like new bands that are famous by any means.
Yeah.
Like I don't got what is everybody into? BTS, the Korean
all the
pop
Korean
band.
stuff, yeah, the K-pop
I'm not
stuff.
I'm not into
yeah.
that, but like as far as artists
Yeah.
I like putting out new music, yeah.
Yeah,
I follow that.
yeah,
Awesome. Like
yeah.
everything I wrote down because I figured you would ask is all music made in like these are all last 5 years maybe. Yeah. And this is kind of like thematically how I listen to music, which is like I'll find a genre and a style and then I'll geek out on that for 3 months and then I'll move on. I'll find something else that perks my interest and move on and collect all of those artists in that sort of format.
Can you write these down for me?
You want those as well? I'll give you that one, yeah.
Definitely.
Some of these are Chicago outfits.
Yeah.
Waltzer, remember Waltzer from DZ Fest?
Yeah.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
Waxahachie, Katie Crutchfield, she's got a record coming out.
Nice.
this week. She's going to be at the Riv. I'm going to go, or the Vic. I'm going to go see her there.
Nice.
So yeah, most like, I keep up with
Yeah.
artists I like.
Yeah.
Other records, like, do you have like a new record of the summer you're listening to? Is there anything, or
this
even if it was
summer-
old? Oh, keep going. Sorry.
I go backwards. Like the more forward I go, the more backward I go with listening.
Yeah.
I still like once to like 3 times a year will find a new artist that I'm into, like a new artist, where it used to be like once to 3 times a week, like I would always be. Definitely not so much. I don't have the mind space for it anymore. But yeah, I definitely keep going back. I'm stuck in the 90s.
Okay. Like who? Who we got?
Well, this one isn't 90s, but early 2000s. Maybe actually the year 2000. The Transplants. Do you remember the Transplants?
No.
Travis Barker was a drummer.
Okay.
It was the dude from Rancid. Was it Tim Armstrong, right? From Rancid. I think the one dude went by the name Skinhead Rob, and then Travis Barker. And it was like hip-hop punk with a little electronic stuff in there. And the one song is like on like a shampoo commercial now. Like the
What's the melody?
do 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 woo do 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 woo woo. I
don't know.
If I play, you might maybe
Yeah.
recognize it. But they've got like, I think only 4 total albums out. I'm into the first 2 right now, and man, they're so good. Like, it's kind of corny lyrics that I can't relate to, like slinging drugs in the Bay Area. Like, I can't relate to that, but like.
But you can imagine it.
Yeah, right. I could pretend, right?
Yeah.
But it's like stuff that I've been listening to a lot of that lately. There's a band called Yard Act from the UK. They're new. They're really good. They just have the one album out. It's really, really like. It reminds me, like, it was really, really good. Like, I would recommend that.
Who is this?
Yard Act.
Yard Act.
2
They're
words.
a new gig.
I don't know where at in the UK, but they're from somewhere overseas.
Let me give that to
And I think it's
myself
just a
and then write it down.
self-titled album. It's really good. It's like the dude just speaks the song. There's not much singing.
Like a Hobo Johnson.
I don't know who that is.
I'm kidding. Don't listen to Hobo Johnson.
Okay. But yeah, he just kind of has like a speaking style of delivering. And at first you're like, oh, this is kind of cool, like melody, whatever. But then after like the second or third listen, when you grab a lyric, you're like, oh, wow, that's pretty neat, or that's cool. So I've been listening to them. Really good new stuff. What was the last show you went to?
Last show I went to was just last week, Golden Dagger. And I saw Moontype. I saw Sarah Waddell, and there's another act. So
Okay.
it's just 3 Chicago bands. you know.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
That's a luxury of living here now.
Yeah, right?
Like 10,
Yeah.
everything's 10 minutes away.
When we used to live in Berwyn, we would just take Ogden right in.
Mm-hmm.
Berwyn. And it was the best because it's just easy 15 minutes and you're good, as opposed to, not that it's super far, but Evergreen, it takes so much longer. But what was I gonna say? The Gorillas. I've been listening to a lot of the Gorillas lately, and we've just last week they were in town at the United Center. We took my son.
Oh, nice.
And
That's
it was
cool.
so fun. The show was delayed because somebody was being administered CPR. Like, doors were at 6:30. Show was supposed to be at 7:30. We got there at about 7:30, and as we were getting to our seat, there's like a commotion and multiple people around someone doing compressions, and they were like taking turns, which are like
In the
this-
lobby?
right on the floor, like right next to the sound stage or the sound tent. Yeah.
So you're like in your seats watching this?
watching it. I
Oh,
mean,
man.
we were in the 300 level, but it was right, and like we were trying to distract my son from seeing it, just, it was-
Yeah.
And like what was scary was that people were taking turns. Like one person could not do it, so another person, I don't know what happened. My wife did a little digging afterwards, and just someone collapsed,
Heart
and I
stop.
don't know if they made it. So because of that, the show was delayed a bit, And so they didn't get on until kind of late, and like with a 5-year-old,
It's a Monday
like
night, right?
it was a Monday night, and he had school the next day. I had work the next day, and it was just, oh man, yeah, a lot of fun. So good. Gorillas are great.
That's awesome.
Tons of gorillas. Love gorillas. Um, but another thing I've been getting my son into is Rammstein.
Okay.
And are you familiar?
I'm familiar with
It's just
the
German,
hits, yeah.
just metal, industrial stuff. They are so good. And they were just in town. But it was Memorial Day weekend. They were played Soldier Field. And we were out of town. I really wanted to go. And I've heard testimonial and watched video of the show. And
It was a good performance.
man, they were so underrated. They're so good, and my son really likes them. He likes watching their music videos just because they're crazy music videos. Oh, we talk. I don't know. I just started talking about.
No, that's all I asked you about was what you had over the summer.
Oh yeah,
Everyone's
summer.
got a summer record.
That's
or summer
right.
vibe.
Man, this summer was Yard Act and
Yeah.
definitely Transplants. That's right. But one thing that I feel is summer music for me is a band called a band called Nudes, Nvdes, Nudes. Just electric dance music, but
Nudes?
but good. Look up the song 8 a.m.
Okay.
If the song 8 a.m. doesn't do it for you, then
NV.
NVDES. And the song 8 a.m. is just such a good, it's got like a dirt to it. It's got
Okay.
like a definitely stayed out too late.
Okay.
Definitely went home with the wrong person kind of vibe to it.
Alright.
You know, really good song and just nothing but summer inside that song in my mind.
Do you listen to Polo Pan?
Never heard?
I'll trade you Polo Pan.
Yes. Thank you.
They're of that vibe.
Nice.
Heck yeah. So, all right. So, something I know that you're passionate about on two fronts. Obviously, we know about music, but James Bond.
Oh man, yeah.
So I just watched a
Yeah.
documentary this morning, actually, about the music of James Bond.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one, but
Where do you? What's most nostalgic for you? Is there like a song in particular?
the music
or a
of
movie
James
in
Bond of all, because, oh man, Charlie, you just opened a door, man. So people that are into James Bond are into James Bond. They will come up with I've noticed they like to list things. What's your favorite? Who's your favorite Bond? What's your favorite Bond movie? Who's your favorite Bond girl? What's your favorite stunt? All this stuff.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song? Bond song. Bond songs have always been low on my list.
They're low for you.
But I do have some that I love, love, love. But they're not like, I'm not like, who did the last one? Billie Eilish. That was like that broke the internet for a minute. Oh my God, could you believe you got the people saying, she's going to be awful, she's going to ruin the franchise. Then you got the people like, yeah, she'll do great, of course. Of course her song was fine. I don't remember it, but her song was fine. Like Jack White and Alicia Keys did one. It was like, oh my God, Jack White, gross. I happen to like that song. You know, so people go nuts over that stuff. And as far as the music goes, I don't. If it's a good song, it's a good song.
Okay.
You know, it doesn't matter who. The Garbage one from The World's Not Enough, I think that's what the song's called, maybe. That one's my favorite because I love Garbage, and I just think it's a great song. Live and Let Die, of course, is...
Epic.
Is that technically Wings or Paul McCartney?
I think it's just Paul McCartney.
Just an amazing song, undeniable. I do enjoy the old, like, was it Shirley Bassey? Like Goldfinger, just
Yeah.
like that epic horns and just crashes of. Those are cool. I don't like Duran Duran, but theirs was decent.
I don't like Duran Duran either,
Yeah.
and I hate that song.
Yeah. Or was the what's her name? Is it Carly Simon? What was the one?
Nancy Sinatra.
Nancy Sinatra, definitely. There's an 80s one that I'm thinking of. Maybe it's not Carly Simon, I forget. But see, I'm not an expert on them. The Madonna one was not, nah. But the Garbage one is my favorite. The world is not, like, I love Shirley Manson. She could
Yeah.
do no wrong in my eyes. Are you a Bond guy? Are you into
I
movies?
stopped. I haven't seen any of the new ones.
Yeah?
Like any of the
Okay.
Daniel Craig ones
Man.
at all.
It's just
So,
it's such a topic. It can be
yeah.
divisive, like, Daniel Craig was great. He was awesome. That last movie, I won't get into it, but I've got my opinions.
Bad movie.
Man, it was a great movie, but I didn't like the ending. I didn't like what they did. For those that have seen it, know what I'm talking about. I wasn't a fan of it.
Such
Just
a shame.
my opinion. MYO in my opinion. Isn't there a thing MYOP?
IMO, in my opinion.
Yeah. In my opinion.
I stop at the Brosnan films. And those are like
Dude,
the best.
Those are so good.
The techno
those are good.
score.
Those are good. That sword fight he has in the one Die Another Day, I think I get those two mixed up, but the sword fight he has with that one dude is so good. The one with Madonna, so I think it is Die Another Day. Such like that's the thing. Like if the movie's not good, there's always gonna be a handful of moments. Like usually it's like a stunt or like a scene or a sword like a fight that's just so cool.
Yeah.
Man, I love those films. They're so good. Some of my best, like when I think of things like memories or nostalgia or whatever. There's a moment in my life where my wife and I were not together for a minute. We weren't married. We were dating, took a break, then went back together. So in that little window, when I lived down the street from Ben in that little basement, I'd come home from work, and I'd do one of three things. Option one, or depending on what I had available at the apartment, Edie's Double Fudge Brownie ice cream. I would just take the whole thing and just scoop it right out and watch a Bond movie. If that wasn't available, I'd cook up a box of mac and cheese, just the Kraft Blue Box.
Yeah.
But I have a very specific not secret, but like a good recipe to make Blue Box just blow your mind.
Okay.
My wife and I have a theory that there's no good restaurant mac and cheese. All restaurant mac and cheese is just mush, and it's just like soupy, and the noodles are always overcooked because it's got to sit there all day, because it's on the children's menu and it's on like the dinner menu. Like it's got to sit there, so it's just never good. They like to throw a little layer of cheese on the top. No, it's always gross. So Blue Box Kraft macaroni and cheese is the best
It's the best you can
form
get.
of mac and cheese because you can make it the way you want to make it. You want a little extra cheese in there? Boom, there you go. You go to a restaurant, you're not getting that sort of, you're not getting that made for you. You are at their whim.
Yeah.
That was the second option. The third option was a bagel with cream cheese, a little bit of shredded cheddar, and an avocado if one were available. And watch a Bond movie. That's what I would do, and I did that every day for who knows how long. And it was just like I was in a cold basement. I was by myself, nobody bothering me. Like there's nothing better in this world than not being bothered. Like, could you think of anything better than not being like? I love not being bothered so much.
Yeah.
And that was the
peace that comes with it.
sanctuary. Yeah, it was so awesome. I mean, I may not have been in the best state of mind the rest of the day, but that was like,
Right.
man, that was, those are days like you look back and like, if I could relive my life, I would at the very least carve a chunk out there, like.
You would take those days back, or no? You mean
I would want to
those
be
get
in those.
reassessed?
Yeah, I would want to be in those again. Not relive as in redo or anything, but
those get saved.
yeah. Do you have those? You got to have
Oh
those.
yeah, basically
Right?
like yeah.
There's so many.
2014 till yesterday. I'll take.
See, I don't know if I would do yesterday. No, I would do yesterday.
Yesterday's pretty good.
I would do yesterday
I
for
had a
sure.
good yesterday.
For sure.
Yeah.
There was something I was gonna bring up. I don't remember now. There's one topic I want to bring up before we end, but if you got more, go nuts.
My next one's just kind of get out there. So what do you got? What do you got for me?
I want it's been just hammered into us lately because of what has happened lately to a big thing that we have in common lately.
Yes.
The DZ and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've talked plenty about it, privately or not.
Yeah.
So you did the documentary? You had an interview?
I was in the doc. Yeah.
How was your experience with it? You don't have to spoil anything, but
So it was fun for me because Danny and Michelle, they're
Yeah.
characters,
Yeah.
and we
Oh,
lived
that
together
was so
for
fun.
2 months.
Yeah.
So I kind of forgot what was happening.
Yeah.
As far as like the procedure of, like, I feel like I do my best work when people are creative around me. So I loved having them
Yeah.
as roommates doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
the documentary itself, though, like, they interviewed me twice, and
Yeah.
I feel like
What were your locations?
one was in the midst of printing,
Okay. Oh, no.
so like a late night. It was probably midnight,
Yeah.
and I had done it all day one day.
Yeah.
And the next was a more formal, with the
Yeah.
setup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's strange that a documentary could even exist. I don't know.
Yeah.
For the longest time until like maybe like I don't even know. I don't know the year, but or the moment per se, but like I just thought we were entertaining ourselves. I didn't know that we were like pioneering something or like watching that happen,
Right? It's
Yeah.
the same. Like,
Because that's all it was for the longest time.
because you're
First
in it.
5 years at least.
Yeah. Like you're so close to it that you don't get an opportunity to step away from it to see it.
Yeah.
And the few times, this last summer being a big one of stepping back and looking at it,
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, wow, yeah, like it.
What a feat.
I don't want to sound, vain or conceited or whatever, but like that, just to be even the minute part of that is so special,
Yeah, absolutely.
Man.
There's nothing else like it. Like, it's the thing I'm most grateful for.
Yeah.
And like when we were talking about weaponizing technology with art, or that's why it was so easy to believe in and so easy to do, and for it to feel like second nature. It's because it's what humans do best. They problem solve and they create. And
Yeah.
it's incredibly special to me and to
Man.
many people, and I'm incredibly grateful for it. I don't know that I don't know that I would be even remotely successful in any right if I didn't see that happening and get to help
Yeah.
make that happen.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's super weird to grow up watching documentaries or
Mm-hmm.
and think like I might be featured in one. Like that's weird. Like
it's strange.
that's so cool. But and also too, how do you capture that? It's
Yeah,
absolutely impossible to capture.
a decade of what to say a decade sounds strange. I don't know.
And it just it just, man,
It's special. It's beyond
it's
words.
so. It just happened. I didn't wake up one day and think I'm gonna, be part of that, or like Ben, like I'm gonna help out. Ben. Like it just happened, and how do you feel about?
It ending.
Yeah.
I was an emotional wreck many times throughout the year,
Yeah.
knowing it. We all sort of knew it because we talked about it before,
Mm-hmm.
but then when it was like, this is the last year, immediately I was emotional, of course. The last night, I started crying like
Yeah.
4 bands left.
Yeah,
like watching
yeah.
the sun go down.
When no disrespect to Yada Man, but there was no time for Yada Man. One, because breaking down the second stage,
Right.
stage Z, and two, because just bouncing off of people as you're running equipment back and forth, and like there's Eddie, there he goes.
Yeah.
There's Ash. Oh man, Ash is crying. Oh, now I'm gonna cry.
You got him.
Thanks, Ash.
Mhm.
Oh, oh man, and just seeing the people, and just I stood on the stage and just kind of, oh man,
Yeah. I know. It was a tremendously, it was a profound moment. I don't know how to explain it any other way. It was probably the most present I've ever been, and
Yeah.
and just vulnerable and raw.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
and there was 40 other people feeling that way too.
Yeah. There's the last 2 times I've cried. My
Yeah.
son being born, and then
And DC Fest ending. I know.
a birth and a death, man. this is naive of me to think, but I never thought it would end there. I honestly, I don't know why. This is maybe just me wanting it to always be there, because DZ Records is not dead, of course, but there. Like
Yeah.
I just figured, why would he ever leave? Why would it ever change? Why would the bands ever not record in that specific basement? Why would the fest not happen in that specific? It
made
wouldn't
sense.
be.
It was a great format.
I really truly believe the DZ itself would just the only destruction of the DZ would come from natural causes.
Yeah.
That was the only way it could be. But then him start talking and when Ben talks about something, he's gonna do it,
Right.
which sucks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do 2 stages. Oh, do you have to do? It's gonna be 2 days. Oh man, 2 days.
Yeah.
That date. Do you like the day 2, like the day 2 blues? I only say that because it's got a ring to it. But like the day 2, when you wake up that morning, you're like, I gotta do that again, man.
I never
Like-
missed a beat.
But not
You
and
know,
like
I don't know.
but that goes away when you show up and things get cracking. I'm not like complaining,
no,
but it's
yeah.
just like
It's-
going back to work. Like, I gotta do that.
Yeah. It was
Here we
never
go.
work though. Was it ever really work?
No, it was physical though.
It was physical and it
That's
it
what
was
yeah.
exhausting.
It was Yeah, it was an exhaustion. It was a specific exhaustion.
Yeah.
It's a unique exhaustion because it was a mind, body. It was an audio exhaustion. It was a
Yeah,
physical
fatigue
exhaustion.
all around.
Fatigue. You're just like hungry and hot at all times. Oh man,
Slightly dehydrated.
dehydrated.
Just full of
But having the most fun.
yeah.
That was the most fun every year.
I think it's thoroughly corrupted me, like completely and thoroughly corrupted me because now that it's not going to happen ever again in this format, and I don't know, it's a lot of us are like, what's next? What's next?
Yeah.
But if there's one thing that living through all of that has done, it's made me realize the ability. Actually, I don't know if you can call it ability because it's a gamble to do this sort of thing. But the idea and the necessity that I feel to earn a living from my talents.
Yeah. Yeah.
To see it done
Yeah.
in that format and contribute in that format, and then know that you can make a life out of that, perhaps. That's what's most exciting. That's why I'm corrupt, though. I was already corrupt because I've had 30 plus jobs in my life.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh, Charlie. So that's one thing about you that I wanted to say. Like, I feel like you, because all right. I feel like you are either coming from something or going to something. That's how I know you.
Yeah.
Here comes Charlie. He's just coming from something. There goes Charlie. He's just going. Like when I first started coming around the DZ, that's just that was like my introduction to you was
Coming or going.
coming or going. Like, where's Charlie going? Oh, he's going to work. Okay,
Yeah.
where's Charlie? I don't know where he's going. Like
Yeah.
30 plus.
30 plus jobs. That's a side effect of
That's so funny.
yeah. So I was already corrupt by doing what I want all the time.
And that too. Charlie does what Charlie wants.
I have had no
That's
choice.
it. That's it. That's for better or for worse. That Charlie's doing what Charlie and that's enviable. That's a trait that I envy in certain ways. Like do you still do what you want?
I have no choice.
That's you could.
I can only do what I feel compelled to do. I can only do what I feel
Why?
compelled to do. Why? It started as a survival mechanism.
Okay.
Yeah. From a broken home and things like that.
Yeah.
And then it morphed into personality. And
If somebody gives you instructions,
Mhm.
do you just be like, "Fuck you"?
No.
Who
I'm
are
not-
you to tell me?
No.
what
So
to
I'm not
do?
uncoachable.
Oh, you're not uncoachable.
I'm not uncoachable. No.
Okay.
No.
If someone asks you to wear a lanyard with your ID on it,
I abide.
what?
I wear one every day.
Okay. If someone says we are now wearing blue on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays.
No, so I already pushed the boundaries with that. I've had conversations on appropriate professional attire. I said that was a big F you. I'll tell you off mic what I had to. I'll tell you off mic something later.
Please.
Yeah, but no, that's. I don't think that I can ever. I'll never not do what I feel most compelled to do.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself to be a people pleaser? Like you want? No.
Not a people pleaser.
You don't care if people
I
like you
when
or
people
dislike
are
you?
pleased. No, not at all. I like when people are pleased.
Yeah.
Like
Of course.
I like to do good work.
Yeah.
I believe that the reward for good work is better work.
Yeah.
It's a mantra of mine.
Yeah.
But I have no desire to please anyone. No,
man.
zero desire.
That is so funny.
That doesn't mean I don't want to be like loved and appreciated by
Yeah,
people for things
of
I do.
course.
But
Yeah.
no, as far as like
That's
follow the
so
rules,
funny.
dot your I's, cross your T's.
And if you find out someone doesn't like you,
I've
don't
never
care.
met anyone who didn't like me.
Or like someone like thought not that you're a bad person, or just thought one might, even if it's slightly negative. Like,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's abrasive sometimes, so it's understanding.
man,
But what I don't like, I've had to accept these things about myself. What do you
Yeah.
want me to do for
Yeah,
you? Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And that's just I've had to come to terms with that a long time
that's
ago.
like that's almost Zen or something. Like you've unlocked something that I don't have.
So 1/3 of it is this is how I break it down. 1/3 of it is I have ADHD and I don't take any treatment for it. I'm
Okay.
also self-diagnosed. But there's a really good scene. You know how I knew I had ADHD was Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, dude, I love Malcolm in the Middle.
There's a sequence where Hal comes home and there's a note from Lois that says, "Change the light bulb, Hal." And so he goes to get a light bulb and he opens up the drawer and the handle comes off on the door. So now he's looking for a screwdriver. And he's looking for he's digging around and he can't find a screwdriver or something.
Oh, the best.
And so he does that and comes to that and then he finds that there's no light bulbs or something. So he has to get in the car to go get new light bulbs, but the car's making a tick. So he's got the engine removed.
Yes.
And then Lois comes home and she's like, "Hal, I asked you to change the damn light bulb." And he's like, "What do you think I'm doing?" Under the car.
That's
And that's
you?
me. That's
Oh,
1/3.
That's so good.
That's 1/3 of it. The next third is the survival mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last third is like the need to be creative in some output, no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
and authentic. Like people that are inauthentic, are insincere, or disingenuine. Like I have no time for that
No time
at
for
all.
that.
So
Yeah.
if you're not
Yeah.
being real
Yeah.
and contributing something,
Yeah.
to hell with you.
Yeah.
So when you combine those three things, like
Wow.
it's essentially what I get.
Yeah.
And so some of it has been in my favor, some of it has not been in my favor,
Man.
but it's something I had to accept about myself.
Yeah.
You know,
Again, enviable.
yeah.
That's, man, Malcolm in the Middle is so good. It's one of the most underrated sitcoms.
Oh yeah.
It's one of my favorite. So I don't know your history. I don't know your past, and we don't have to speak about any of it if you don't want to.
I think it was similar to yours, you know, broken
Well,
home,
busted up home,
and
stuff.
just like drugs and alcohol, parent, like stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. This could be off mic. We don't even have to talk about it off
no,
mic.
it's fine. I'm.
But I
coming
am
to terms with it.
curious. I
Yeah.
will be honest. I am curious.
I feel like that's another issue that I have is that I assume the world knows everything about me,
Mm,
and so when I do things, I'm like, of course I'm doing this because of
yeah,
all of the shit. But I feel like everyone does that.
Yeah.
Maybe, perhaps.
I definitely do. Do you? I know you have a brother. Do you have any other siblings?
I have 2 brothers.
2 brothers.
Yeah, but
Both older.
I'm the middle.
You're the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you identify as a middle child? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a middle child as well.
I think so.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, I think so. Like from a very early age.
Like wanting attention, but not
Mm,
like in your head wanting it, but not. Like,
see,
I don't know how to
like
explain it.
validation, but
Validation.
when I was young, so like, just a snippet of my history is like when I was 14, I realized that my family was in disrepair, and like I left.
And you
then.
bailed.
Yeah.
You had that realization,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
at 14.
Now, was your thought your thought process to bail because you saw that it was beyond your capability to or beyond your ability to help repair to contribute, or was it I just gotta get the fuck away from these people?
A
Like
combination
or
of both.
Yeah.
You know, like I was, I wanted to be happy, was not happy,
Yeah.
and that was kind of the fundamental thing.
Yeah.
But also like thinking of the future, like, and just knowing that this is terrible,
Yeah.
and I'm not. I just had to leave that
Yeah.
at 14 or so.
Yeah.
And
That's
so,
amazing to have that thought, that awareness.
It was
'Cause you could've
self-preservation.
stayed.
It was
Yeah.
it was the 1/3 of what I am.
Yeah.
To
You could have stayed. Do you have you gone down roads that
what do you mean?
So if you would have stayed, your life probably
Oh, like
would
play it
have.
out in my head. Yeah.
Have you? But as you've gotten older, have you? I don't know how to say it. I don't know why.
Like
I don't know.
regretted?
Regressed. Have you not regressed? Regress is not the right word. Have you? So say. Why can't I think of like how to
What do you
say
mean?
this? Like have you like tripped up and like? Do you feel that whatever chaos was going on in that life that you left it, you're apart from it, but have you felt yourself, have you felt the chaos in you? Have you felt like,
Always.
yeah, it's
Always.
always,
Still to this day.
and it's something that you wake up and think about.
Mhm.
It's something that you think about before you go to sleep.
Very much.
And is it something that you're like, how do I not do that? Or is it just an awareness of it, a reminder of it? Is it a judging? Is it?
I feel like I continue to have epiphanies about it because
Same, yeah.
a lot of the time I was sort of just reacting, not like putting forethought into what's next. So because of that, yeah, there's still like I'm still having epiphanies about perhaps what I was actually thinking instead of just reacting. And
Learning from it and like
yeah,
like the main one is like, okay, that's this chaos, that's what not to do. That's easy, that's basic, you
Right.
know. But sometimes you do those things that you're not supposed to do, or
So, I mean-
you have weaker moments and
yeah. As a
Yeah.
side effect of all of that, like I dropped out of high school.
mhm.
You know, I was I had no resources to continue high school. Like I had one with all of the tumultuous bullshit happening in my daily life and like not having any money for one. Like I just I can't go to high school any longer. So I had to stop going to high school and get a job. And just that, you know, like immediately sort of being crass in a way to the world as a way to survive and get by, but knowing that I wanted something better to change, and to enjoy life, and do meaningful work, whatever it was. I mean, that I say that now. I didn't have those words then.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just like, someone please love me, you know. So through
Yeah.
all of that, though, I've learned very much how to be affectionate for myself and how to be vulnerable in a responsible way, in a responsible sort of way, because I'm still very reckless. I'm still very much like a hopeless romantic, like, heart on my sleeve sort of person.
Yeah.
Probably because I never had that intrinsic validation, so I've had to like seek it myself. And so far, I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
It's in the last couple of years, especially. I think my stuff's starting to pay off for me. You know, like high school dropout. With now I teach kids.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's
Heck yeah.
kind of cool.
That's awesome.
It's kind of neat in that fashion. And but now that like I feel like I've sort of done a lot of that work or undone a lot of that work.
Yeah.
So only now, in the last couple of years, do I feel like I can actually begin to do things I'd like now and enjoy.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I have enough lived perspective and resources and time to finally begin whatever comes next.
Yeah.
So I'm not certain I know exactly what it is, but something.
Have you ever been to therapy or seen a therapist or anything like that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Have you gotten? Have you felt like that's helped?
I felt it was
No.
very unhelpful.
Really?
Incredibly unhelpful. It felt belittling.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it the person, perhaps, or
I've
the
had a
process?
couple. I've had a couple. The process of it all.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It felt
wow.
belittling. I don't
That's
know why.
interesting.
Maybe a therapist could tell me why it felt belittling.
That'll be the next session.
But I don't know. I was always naturally trying to discover and figure out why. I could never reconcile why my family was the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
I can now as an adult, and I've like put myself in an adult shoes
Yeah.
at that time, but I couldn't as a kid.
Is there forgiveness?
Yeah, forgiveness
Yeah?
a long time ago.
Really?
Oh yeah, just as a way to move on. Like,
Yeah.
damn, am I pissed? Like, you know.
Yeah. That's mature. I'm nowhere near forgiveness.
That's strange. Really? Nowhere
Yeah.
near forgiveness?
Maybe nowhere near as being dramatic, but no.
Well, this is kind of strange to say, and I sort of feel guilty saying it, but when you sense someone is hopeless, it's hard to be angry at them. So, for that reason, I realized that it was,
Okay.
you know,
I totally understand what you're saying with that.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not that, like, I don't enjoy saying that at
Yeah.
all, but
Wow. Man.
what are you going to do? I didn't pick it, you know?
Man. I know I'm going to have regrets for not acting on that if I choose not to when the time comes.
Yeah.
You
What do you
know,
mean?
like to not have us talk with a certain person about certain things, you know?
Yeah.
Like
I didn't get the talk. I didn't get it either.
It was
But,
in your heart?
It was in my heart. Yeah.
I'm fascinated by that stuff coming from it,
Mhm.
you know, to compare notes in a way, you know?
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
I know we're kind of talking in code a little bit, or, you know, we're not divulging everything. but-
Yeah, we know what each other's saying.
but, yeah.
For the confusing audience
Yeah.
listening, I feel like.
I mean, I apologize. I don't want to put you in any awkward position.
No.
I'm fine with talking about
I prefer to talk
stuff,
about it.
but- Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
I prefer to talk about it
Yeah.
because it was probably 90%, not 90%, 20% of a previous generation's issues to just not talk about it.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, exactly.
You know?
And it's so unhealthy. It's
So unhealthy.
Yeah, so unhealthy.
And
And learning how to talk about it, I'm still doing. You
Yeah.
know, like
It's strange. No, but I mean, I don't know. Like, it's abrasive, especially when I tell kids, like students, about my life. Freaks them out. Really freaks them out.
yeah,
But just like, yeah, you got nothing to worry about. Chill.
Yeah.
I don't mean to diminish your problems, but
yeah,
You know.
yeah. Not having the new iPhone is not a big deal. You'll
Right.
be okay.
right.
I don't know what kids complain about these days.
Well, I don't know. The same things they did before, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know that I don't know that I ever complained. Not outwardly. I might have like worn it on my face.
yeah,
But I don't know that I ever like
yeah,
was in a combative complaining mood
yeah,
intrinsically sometimes.
yeah.
But
Man,
you know,
man.
I don't know. It's strange. And it's also, you know what? It's also uniquely American. The wave at which it happened, because there's you know the family dynamic breaking down in the 50s and stuff with families, but the people who had children in the 80s to 98 or so, like that window of parents, it's unique in
Yeah.
our culture, like
Yeah.
for it to be so widespread.
Yeah.
And I've tried to pick through why or what in history, like children of baby boomers, like economics. I don't understand it. I think it's where our American culture starts to search for identity more so than ever, because it's a direct product of, I don't know, like economic manipulation and just the culture as a whole, like being such an indulgent culture for the first time, like post-World War II, Industrial Revolution, baby boomers, children, all, I don't know, like that high school, and that like high school pocket of like, I don't know how to explain it exactly, but I don't know. It's strange.
Yeah. There's there's like a oh god, I'm losing my ability to think of words to speechify. There's like a self-indulgence, or not a self, like a, you could attribute it to technology or cell phones, I guess, or the internet. There's a when we became so, like, having your song on the radio, your face on the television was uh, was was given to the celebrities only or the musicians only. You know, that was theirs. But when normal people were able to get their song on the internet or on a radio or whatever, or normal people take a photograph and upload it onto a site, and now everyone's seeing it, the celebrityization of that, like, we all think we're all celebrities, you know.
Yeah.
Not me, but when someone posts something on social media and they get all the likes, the rush from that and all that, we're like a look at me kind of state, and that bothers me. And I wanted to ask about social media with you. Like, I'm kind of trying to bring it into a social media discussion. You want to talk about that or
We'll
not?
talk about it. Yeah.
What's your relationship with social media and all that?
I suffer from the dopamine hit of the likes and things.
Yeah.
But when I think about what I'm posting, I try to be as authentic and transparent as possible. So, like,
Yeah.
only things I'm doing, or only things I've done, or things I've created, or things I'm thinking about. The celebrity of it, or the farce of it.
Yeah,
While I
yeah.
still find that I paint myself in a better picture, it's only output that is, like, contributes in some way. So
Yeah.
whether it be a podcast or some artwork I'm making or a video that I've created, like, it's a creative output, and it's only in service to that. It's not
Yeah.
for the celebrating. I don't know that I don't do any sort of celebrating on there. It's just for spoke in the wheel of my creative output.
Yeah.
Is how I look at it.
Yeah. Do you that's as far as stuff you post, but do you find yourself doom scrolling or
Oh yeah,
stalking?
the infinite scroll.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The algorithm of, like, I get, like, ridiculous videos. My YouTube algorithm's all over the place, or like the scrolling one.
Yeah.
Like people building outdoor like off the grid people,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
bush what do you call it? Bushwhacking, building temporary
Yeah.
stuff like that, and like engineering videos, but then also like the dark portion of it, which, like girls' titties and shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's unavoidable on the internet.
Yeah, when you start getting emails from stuff, you're like, oh man, I've been doing a little too much of that, so
Right.
let's cut that back. Yeah, that I've been more into it lately.
More into it.
By that I mean, like, I've been doing it a lot more lately.
Okay.
Like I say, like, I'm not on Facebook. I deleted my Facebook. Come on, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm 2 clicks away from seeing everybody and all that. You know what I mean? I'm barely on social media. No, Matt, you are. You know.
It's unavoidable.
But no, it is avoidable.
I don't know.
Because we've avoided it for a gazillion years until the past few, right?
Yeah.
And people could do it, right? Can
I don't
you
know.
delete your
Well, I don't know.
social medias?
I mean, you could delete your social media, but then, God forbid, you want to, like, start a business
Do
or something,
something, yeah.
or anything. Like,
But we need them only because we say we need them. All we gotta do is stop saying we need them, and then we don't need them, right? Like,
I don't know.
it's not that easy, I know.
It's
but
not that easy. Think about, like, a record comes out by, I don't know, Bad Brains. They're not gonna ever put out a record again. Someone puts out a
Probably.
record, and they promote it. Where do you promote it?
Yeah, how you supposed to know about
The
it?
radio, like a print somewhere. It doesn't happen.
The discount bin in your local music store? Wait a minute.
Right, or like the American Idiot campaign that was everywhere.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that doesn't exist
No,
any
it
longer.
doesn't. But I think I get the same thing. It's like indulging in the social media for an evening or a night or right before bed or whatever. is the same thing for me as indulging in a box of cupcakes or something.
Yeah.
It feels so good in the moment, but I
Yeah.
feel so gross afterwards.
It's that dopamine hit, you know? It's the problem I have with cookies or something. Like, give me a box of Oreos, I'm going to eat a whole sleeve, you
Dude,
know? So as soon as I
Oreos?
start scrolling, like...
What's your preferred Oreo? Just the regular?
The mega stuffs.
The mega. Oh. Right? The more stuff, the
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And there's a nice glass of milk to wash it down.
Yeah, I love Christmas time for that, you know? Just count on banking 5 extra pounds.
There's a Brookie Oreo out now. Are you familiar with the Brookie?
What's a
a
Brookie?
brownie and a cookie, like the
Ooh.
batters and stuff
See,
mixed.
technology's doing all sorts of crazy things.
So, the Oreo, the cookie is a brownie, then the stuff, and then a cookie.
Oh, man.
And it is so good. Oh, God, is it good. It's unfair how good that is.
Yeah. That's the algorithm. That's like an analog version of the algorithm right there, getting you to buy in. It's the same indulgence.
So, kind of related. The social media part of it. It's what I hated doing with Friends of Music. I tried to make it fun.
You've been having a renaissance.
Oh God.
I've noticed.
Do you have an opinion on that? Because it's.
So I know you as a person. I know your obsession with them. I think it's great. You know what? I did a similar thing for a long time.
Yeah?
I still do it with this was a farce, I guess, on the internet, an experiment of mine. In an effort, because I consume so many bananas, in an effort to be sponsored by Del Monte, I would post videos of myself consuming specifically Del Monte bananas.
No way.
And I still do it. I've got a couple of catalogs full of Del Monte
Oh, that's so funny.
banana peels. And so, you know. And so
You like bananas that much? I don't think I knew that.
Oh yeah, you know.
Yeah?
I eat 3 bananas a day, at least.
Awesome. That's potassium.
Potassium, no doubt.
Man.
Banana and peanut butter, my friend. It'll get you through anything.
Really?
Yeah.
You just put a little on?
Oh yeah. I'll
Oh,
hook you up.
man.
I'll hook you up in a minute or two.
I cannot wait. I
They're
truly
it's
cannot
delicious,
wait.
and it's the
Wow.
most like so it satisfies that sweet tooth, but it's also like not that bad for you.
Yeah, yeah.
saying?
Oh man. So
But as far as your I know that people have sexualized
yeah.
your
Oh my god.
avocado posting, because you do, whether you do it intentionally or not, you make it sexy. It's slow. It's not like other content
See, I
you're
don't-
scrolling through. It's not like other content.
Oh
Perhaps
my
you
God, that
pioneered this
kills
as
me.
well, like the ASMR slow butter knife through
So-
the spread and the reveal. You know.
So I can tell you with 1,000% certainty that is 1,000% unintentional.
What's your intention with it then?
To just show an avocado
It's a gamble.
opening. You
It's
never
like,
know.
That's like the game show.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
never know. And even when, but here's the thing about it too, though, is when you open one and you could show a picture of it and it might look fine,
Yeah.
but we all know avocados and textures and stuff and tastes, it's not.
Yeah.
Or you never know when the pit is going to be like 80%. Or is it going to be one of those little ones? You just never know.
Yeah.
It might feel fine, but it might have one little spot there, you know?
Right.
And I think that's funny because I love avocados. And every time, like, wait, just when you think you know, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't know.
Do you think your rapid consumption of avocados is do you think your tolerance for poor avocados is increased or decreased?
That is such a good question. Wow. Because I get so bummed
Yeah.
when you can't eat one, you know? Like, or when you think it looks fine, but when you take that bite and it just has that taste where you're like, nope, this one doesn't have it. I think it has increased because I will eat around a spot, like a dark spot. Like I won't throw it away just from one dark spot. Of course, I'll eat around it, but I'll get closer and closer to that spot.
Okay.
Like, as I get more desperate for the taste. So I think it has increased. Yeah, I've convinced myself that avocados were good when they weren't so good, for sure.
You've had to, though.
Yeah. But I also, as much as I don't know anything about the avocado, I still, like, people like might think that I'm an expert at picking a good one out. I'm not still
Still a
because
gamble.
it's not up to me. It's up to them. The avocados are like cats. You know, it's on their terms when they want you to pet them.
It's true.
The consumption of avocado is solely on their terms. There are tricks. Oh, you put it in a paper bag overnight and it's ready. That doesn't all. It's not that easy. Or the people say, I love it when people say, oh, all you gotta do is when you want a good one, you just pop that little thing off, and if it's a certain color, no, that method is unproven. It's on their terms. We are at their whim.
You really are.
But what's funny about those posts is, well, one, the sexual thing, I don't get at all. Because the first time I heard it was from a friend of mine. He's like, dude, you're sick. What are you talking about? Like, what kind of sick shit are you into? I'm like, dude, it's just about avocado. I'm just having lunch. Like,
Yeah.
it's so, like, what are you putting your balls in it? Like he was joking, of course. He was joking. But then he's like, no, it's like a weird, like, that's your interpretation.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
some
get,
Freud stuff.
It's not like I swear to you, it's not the purpose. It's just simply to cut and open an avocado. And I think it is so funny that a lot of people have said that.
Interesting.
Never.
Well, what I mean is that it's very like ASMR, slow and deliberate.
But like that too, like there's not even thought. The only thought into it is how can I angle the camera so that
So how
it's
do
just
you
the focus.
hold the camera? I've noticed you've got two hands. So what are you doing? You got a tripod?
No, it's just on the phone. Sometimes I'll
You
have.
like put a coffee mug or something, and you're like,
Sometimes like so I have the.
you got a kickstand?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's when I knew I was an addict.
Okay.
is
You've
when
done
got
that.
one
I
of
haven't.
those. So I've got, and if you get at the edge of the table,
Okay.
you don't get the table in the shot.
For sure.
Sometimes I'll have someone help me, and then there have been times. This is where the self-loathing comes in. Is I'll angle it off the table, but I'll have to have something heavy to hold it, and so I can.
Yeah.
You know, that's if I'm by myself or whatever. But I've realized that the kickstand helps a lot. But then the
So-
kickstand, you get stuff in the background that I want to try to eliminate as much as possible.
Shallow depth of field.
Just the avocado, no sound.
So you're on Instagram. You should follow this account called. Do it right now. Do it right now.
Man, you call
Animal
me out
Every Day.
here. Animal every day.
It's this woman who draws an animal every day, and
That's
she
pretty
has for
cool.
like thousands of days. And that's the cool side of Instagram, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone-
Because I do like daily maps, like cool maps every day. Like
Okay.
oh, that was lollygagger, but yeah, like I like looking at maps and like etymology maps, like stuff like that.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
that's fun.
That's what I enjoy most about Instagram. Also, something I learned about Instagram. You know, you can save posts and like create categories for them.
I knew you could save posts. I didn't know you could like categorize them because I do have, I think, one saved. But yeah,
Yeah, I was doing that for a long time with like
Animals Every
stuff
Day.
for school, like designs and things. Animal Every Day.
Follow.
Yeah. And so they're just this is to the effect of what the avocado is, I imagine.
This is cool.
Just compiling all sorts of creatures.
This is really neat.
And that's what I prefer to consume, like, because I know that
Yeah.
I'm a victim to the algorithm. So as much as I can curate it myself to be things like this and other,
Wow, that's
endeavors.
so cool. And like some are good and some.
yeah, some are like, oh damn, it's like 11:58. I got to get an animal up.
Yeah, yeah. But then, like, have you ever been asked to draw a box jellyfish? No.
I have
You know,
not.
you know, but maybe you've been drawing finches your whole life. So, like,
Could be.
that's so cool. That's awesome. Squirrel, that's cool.
Yeah.
And and then some people will say like they love the post and it's fun and it's funny and it's super. I keep it up, and then some like,
Knock it off.
yeah,
You're ruining my
yeah.
day. with
Like
10
I've
seconds
had
of-
people unfollow me or they've said like I'm not following you anymore. Like okay,
Like
I don't give a fuck.
strangers?
No, like friends or
Okay.
whatever. Yeah. I have recently because I haven't done it in a while, but recently I've been back into doing it. One or two got like picked up by a bot or something, so they got like 71 likes within like
Wait. It was like reshared or something?
I don't know. I don't know how.
Or you just got
some like it's just a
pop
bunch
of-
of bot
Yeah.
likes.
I've noticed Instagram's the worst for bots.
Oh yeah.
It's the worst.
I've been out of the posting game for a while, so
I don't. Yeah,
and-
I don't often either. But
Man.
like, just bots left and right.
bots. Yeah.
Fucking
yeah,
bots.
man. But posting for the show, I always hated so much. I hated it. Like it, I would almost get anxiety. With
I don't
it.
understand why. Because you have to like editorialize the 3 sentences.
Because I know if you don't do it well, it's not going to be as effective. And I know I'm not doing it well. Like you could hashtag whatever. Does that really work? Who knows? But like, and also too, I never liked self promotion. Self promotion sucks.
You always called it
Shameless self promotion is trying to convince myself, just shamelessly. So it was all shameful. It was all. I was never liking it or good at it, but understood the necessity of it.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. In the grand scheme of things, who gives a fuck?
Exactly. And that's why I think it's so important
Oh,
to get the catalog back up.
I enjoyed doing the stuff like when I was doing like vinyl of the day, just posting like from my personal collection. But then that after a while, I was thinking like, I got to show the cool, like that I got cool vinyl, like not just
You're trying to curate it.
yeah, like I got to be like the hipster guy, like I got to show that I have these instead of those, like.
I think that's
so,
I think it's just the opposite though. Like you can just post what you're listening to.
Yeah, and I did for a while. I did like a local band of the week, and I was like, well, then I gotta start doing bands I don't like, and can I do that?
Yeah.
I guess I can. Or then like, I don't know. And then I was doing in the year 2006, when it was 2016, 10-year anniversaries of some of my favorite albums were starting to like creep up. I'm like, oh wow. And I started noticing, I made a list. I don't know if I have it on this phone. I think it's on a hard drive. But I made a list of albums that came out in 2006 that I like. And I noticed like, wow, this is a big list. So as those anniversaries were coming out, I'd do an Instagram post about it. And that was fun. Like that I enjoyed doing. That was really cool. But yeah, I don't know, man. So your interpretation was the sex part of the
No,
avocado.
I didn't
Okay,
think
okay.
it was sexual, but I've
Well,
heard.
you heard it. You
I've
heard it. Okay,
this.
you heard it. You heard it.
There's been
Man, that's so
dialogue
funny.
about it.
There's been and see that's too the silly thing about social media is like I pour my heart and soul into these interviews. They get like a half a like and 0 dialogue. I do some shitty thing to an avocado and all of a sudden it breaks the internet or a post of like a cat or something or I don't know. It's silly and it doesn't break the internet. No one's seeing this stuff from me, but it's so funny. It is so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the importance of just because you've done the work, though, I'm just kind of going to twist your arm here. Because you've done the work and because there's so many, like you said, there's bands' first interviews and things in there, but it's also an artifact of your life.
Yeah.
Like, very much.
That's really cool. Because I remember where I was
Yeah.
in certain, for certain interviews. I remember my headspace.
So, what do they call it in radio? In radio, they call it not a reel. There's a word for it I heard the other day. Like an off-air, like a word for a clip or something like that. And someone compiled these hours of 50s broadcasters in Chicago.
Okay.
But normally they only record like the segment where they come back and they have their voice or whatever. But they cataloged the whole shows a lot of the time. So like tens of thousands of hours of broadcasts from the 50s and 60s, and it's so interesting and unique to just like so they do ad reads. Those are especially interesting to hear from back then.
Yeah.
But then just the cadence and dialogue at which these people speak and talk and the interviews they're having and the questions that they're considering are just so wildly unique and absurd in a way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I believe in it as a body of work and I want it to be out there.
Thank you, Charlie.
That's why you should do just one video a week. You've already got it.
That makes that really warms my heart, and that's thank you so much.
It's a tremendous feat to do anything for an amount of time, and
yeah,
you don't have to do any of the heavy lifting any longer because you've already done it. So if you were to re-pop it, it might spark something new.
Yeah,
especially with the other formats you've described.
Yeah, you're right. You are 100% right, but I don't know. I could come up with an excuse for anything. I
Or
guess.
better yet, teach Hugo, make him
Yeah.
learn how to edit.
Oh, he could be my producer. Heck yeah,
And
man.
there you go.
That'd be great. He doesn't have. I don't think he's there yet. No.
What is he? 4, 5, 6?
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Cause, yeah. It was. Yeah, it was fun. I don't
Yeah.
know, man. Yeah.
You know what? The reason it bothers me is because think about someone who is in the beginning stages of some creative endeavor, whether it be a podcast or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And they think their shit sucks. And they're like, man, my shit sucks. It shouldn't be out there. And here you are with an enormous catalog. And so you're just chopping the legs off of all of these
dude.
people out there with these great ideas that they just need to be pushed over the ledge. So
There were so many
to
good.
hear you diminish yourself is frustrating.
Man, I'm feeling guilty.
You
There's
should.
so many. There's so many good bands
Mm-hmm.
that came through. That yeah, or even like going on location and interviewing like known acts and stuff. That was fun. That was always a lot of fun. And like I'd get nervous like interviewing you or friends or
Yeah.
people I've known forever or new people. I would get nervous before every one.
Yeah, that's natural.
And then like I had to go like on site at a venue to interview a band and be like, oh,
Yeah, but you also emailed them, communicated with them, set it
Yeah.
up, brought the
Yeah.
gear, sat down with them. Like you wanted to do it. You sincerely enjoyed it.
I wanted to do it up until the moment I had to do it, and then every time I'd have like mini panic attacks of like, nope, I hope they cancel. Dear God, cancel, please. I can't do this. Nope, don't want to do it. Nope, nope. Hey, how's it going? What's going on? Yeah, Matt. What's your name? Oh, yeah. It would be
Yeah.
almost up until I hit the record button. I'd be like, dear God, please let lightning strike this building so I don't have to do this. Because I'd get so worked up. And sometimes that would translate in the interview. Sometimes
Yeah.
it would take me a moment to
Loosen up.
loosen up for sure. For sure. How is your journey in interviewing going?
So far,
Do
so
you
good.
enjoy conducting interviews?
I enjoyed very much.
Yeah.
I enjoyed very much.
It's something that I never would have thought I would have.
For yourself?
Yeah, for myself.
Huh. Strange.
Like I never would have thought it would have been fun or like, because maybe you've had the feeling, but after a good one, you get a high, you get a certain sense of, wow, that was cool.
I've only found them to be I haven't done like, okay, so this is probably the most fun I've had doing one, just you and I hanging out,
Duh.
honestly. Only because I've been interviewing professors and other people who have done tremendous things.
Yeah, people of merit, unlike myself.
Well, no, just like older
Yeah, yeah.
individuals who have lots of lived experience. So when
Yeah.
you're hearing about their lives,
Yeah,
it's
man.
like
Yeah.
heavy,
Yeah.
heavy. And so like after the one I did with Dr. Hilton, like I didn't want to talk to anyone for days. Like I just had to sit with that info and like
Yeah.
some of those stories he took me
Yeah.
through and took us through, and just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like unbelievable.
Man, that was so hard to listen to
Yes.
at times.
Yes.
And also, like, it was like a good book or something. And I know he's doing his memoirs and such. Oh,
Yeah.
man. It was like a good book because, like, the twists and the turns and the, oh my gosh, moments.
I know.
Yeah, and
Blew
the
my
heavy,
mind.
heavy, heavy, heavy moments.
There
Yeah.
was several times throughout that interview I was literally speechless.
Yeah.
Just like, holy shit. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Wow.
So
That's wild.
for that reason, but I've also just been enjoying it because I have this idea for a format of other content.
Ooh,
So
do tell.
Do tell. So I'm starting. So this podcast is titled "Inside the Artist Studio,"
Yeah.
and the reason for that is because as I expand on this has been the easiest leg of this, but so I have 3 segments I'm working on right now. The Inside the Artist Studio, which is multi-tiered in itself. It's the
Okay.
podcast. When it's with musicians, it'll be session as well.
Nice.
Additionally, a short doc, like a 5 to 10 minute doc,
Okay.
and then a photo shoot as well is like the package.
man.
as a piece of content.
And you're doing all that?
I have the
Are you
idea.
outsourcing?
I'm not outsourcing any of it. I have the idea. I've shot a couple of things and edited a couple of things down, videos that I feel guilty I haven't shared yet, but they're not perfect. Not that they need to be perfect, but they're not ready.
Yeah.
So I'm still working with the format. I'm actually experimenting with one for Neighbors You Know.
Oh, yeah?
So the idea would be Vinny comes in, we do a podcast, he does a couple songs. That's basically biting the DZ format. But in addition to that, though, we distill like a 5-minute doc. So some footage of interview, some footage of the performance, some footage of I'm gonna they're playing at Kohl's in November. So I go to Kohl's, I shoot the show, some on location things, and then. And the way that I'm writing it is that to take the burden off of me is that whatever we discuss in the podcast is the fodder I use for the doc.
Okay.
So it's it'll write itself in a sense.
Okay.
I always have to get the story and edit and shooting and all the minutia of it all. But through that format, I hope to meet many more musicians and artists and creatives.
Yeah.
So that's my contribution to contemporary culture.
Yeah.
Then I have the segment of the art assignment, which is where I talk about things of art history and contemporary art issues, like visual arts specifically, because that's what I teach. So, and we're getting a bit of that with the, I only made a trailer for that just yet, but I have 2 videos in the working of my trip to New York, the Basquiat retrospective.
Okay.
And then finally, my third segment of content is the hero's journey. This is where I talk about my work and my philosophies and my sort of output.
Yeah.
So with those 3 things, those are my my ambitious goals to continue to make good work and do good work.
Yeah.
For the future.
Man, that's inspiring, man. That's a lot too.
I have felt inspired. So,
yeah, that's huge. Good for you, man.
So that's what I'm working on.
That's super cool.
The interviews have just been fun. I did one with my professor, Amy Brown, 2 weekends ago now. And I guess I'm running into the same issues as you where I've got lots of stuff to edit.
Yeah, yeah.
And
one thing that I take pride in this for Friends of Music is we didn't miss a week. It was a thing where it's
okay,
we have to put one out every week. And there were some weeks that we put out 2 in a week just because we had so much content. But it was every week I don't care if it could just be 20 minutes of me farting in a microphone, whatever it takes,
right,
we're
something.
putting out an episode.
Yeah.
And that was cool. That I, like I said, take pride in. But yeah, when you get that backlog.
Right. You could coast for a month or something.
Oh, man. When I was able to release a bunch at once, I could you could set a timer to when it actually does drop, and that would be such a good feeling. I don't have to do this for another, couple weeks here. Sweet.
That anxiety wasn't it didn't drive you though, to do more,
in the moment it did.
In the moment,
yeah. In the moment it did, but having to step back, that just kind of faded. But then it's
so with the popularity of podcasts though, are you do you ever think you have, and because you have such a catalog, do you ever think about seeking sponsorship?
No, never.
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 Not even if it's at the local level?
1,000% no.
1,000% no. What if it was
if it was Billy Boy saying, "Here's free ribs," but you
basically,
gotta talk
and you do,
about
and then you do a
Boys.
Billy Boys read?
That would be. Billy Boy's ribs are top notch.
Think about Marin's Just Coffee Co-op.
Yeah, the Just Coffee. Yeah, but no, I'm very no logo, anti punk rock. No, I wouldn't accept 0 of that. But never did it even come. No one ever even approached me to say. But I never, even in a million years, would do that. Never.
Never?
Never.
Not even if it was such a grassroots thing. It's literally Billy Boys. Okay, yeah, you've got how many listeners? Sweet, we'll give you $150 for 2 reads or something. And it could be fun. You could be come on down to Billy Boys, 95th and Ridgeland.
Tell him Matt sent you.
Tell him Matt
Get
sent
10% off all ribs. No, I couldn't.
All right, fair enough.
No, that I hate adverts and podcasting so much. They're just the worst. They're the absolute worst. When people try and make them funny and go off the cuff, hate it. When people just are reading a script, hate it. When you can't skip forward on
What if it's
certain
like
apps,
cool
hate it.
products, things that are cool?
Hate it.
You hate it.
I've used the discount codes for the flower shops and for I've never bought a mattress, but but I've used discount codes from like use WTF and get 10% off your next. I've done that. I have used them, so I guess they're effective. But I hate them. Hate it all. Hate it all. Hate it all.
My gosh.
I've,
Even if it finances you to continue your...
I did nothing but bleed money. Not that it was a lot, but
Yeah.
for friends, and no
Of
one knows
course.
more about bleeding money than Benjamin.
Of course, of course.
But no, never, never.
All right, I thought about doing fake ones for this one.
Fake ones? I'm
Yeah.
down for fake ones.
You know, in the hopes of like to entice people, like, okay, this is where one would go, and here's a fake one for
Do
some fake product I know.
a Friends with Music
Yeah,
commercial.
Tuesdays and Thursday nights.
Only on AMC.
Yeah, I think it's funny, and I don't know. Like, I think it's funny and could be funny, but I would only like to do it for like local things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
one, then you have to walk into Billy Boys and twist their arm and be like, hey, I have a podcast. And that is exciting to me. Like, I like that idea of...
That is fun. Yeah.
You know.
And but I put like no effort towards any of that stuff though.
Yeah.
Like advertising myself, like the obligatory social media posts. I think maybe once or twice I bought an ad on Facebook, like a $5 like sponsored thing.
Yeah.
Don't know what that
Yeah.
did. I think it. I
Likely.
honestly don't think it did anything.
Yeah.
But I had never like I printed up in the before the show even launched. I printed up flyers that I was gonna I'm gonna go to shows. Remember when people used to hand out mixtapes at shows of their bands? You know, when you were leaving the metro, there'd just be like 3 dudes just like, here's my band, and you just
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll listen to this. No. Or like flyers for shows coming up. Like I was like, man, I would do that for my podcast. Never did it. I printed out a big old thing. Still have a few that I saved. Never did it.
I mean, you made stickers and things. You did things.
I enjoyed making
pins.
stickers and buttons was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. The buttons especially, I had a lot of fun with. That was fun. And I still see them sometimes, which is
Right. They're
which is-
everywhere. They're
You
all
did
over
that
our
on
lives.
purpose, though.
No,
You did that.
this is
Get
no,
out of here, Chuck. Get out of here.
Every day. High school kids.
That was always a lot of fun. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Fair enough. I get it. I understand the reluctance to for self promotion.
Yeah.
It just feels.
Do you when I've listened to a lot of podcasts. I've been listening to them for so long that when certain podcasts start advertising, like I remember when you didn't advertise, it was
Yeah.
like, man, their first album's better. Like
Yeah.
like I don't know. And then like I enjoy it when it's structured, when you know a commercial's coming up, so you can fast forward through it. But when they just get like thrown
The
in,
middles. Yeah.
oh man! And when you, yeah.
Okay,
I
so
don't
you'll
get talked
appreciate
about
Lex
that.
Friedman then.
Yeah.
So he's bad. He's baller because he's like, I need sponsors of my podcast.
Yeah.
And the only thing he says about his sponsors are in the intro. He'll say like, the following is a conversation with blah blah blah. He'll give the name and the intro about the person, and then he'll say like, to best support this podcast, please go to the sponsors in the link. It's the
Okay.
only mention of sponsors he has.
Okay.
But he's still got the big ones. He's got MeUndies and
Yeah, he's Casper mattresses and stamps.com. and-
yeah, you
yeah.
know.
I did I actually did there's a podcast called Rocknology. I think there's some archives on iTunes still by this dude, Valiant himself of the band Valiant Thor. Just a music podcast. He's super nerdy about music, deep dives, stuff like that. He started putting out the episodes, and eventually he was like, "Hey man, if anybody wants to sponsor the show, email me at this email and we'll talk."
Yeah.
And so I emailed him like, "Hey man, could you do because he was on the show. Can you do my, podcast, mention a couple things on the show?" And it was like $60 for like 10 reads, like 10 weeks worth
Oh,
of
that's
reads,
awesome.
which was really cool.
Did you notice any uptick?
Zero bump.
Zero bump.
But I also, I could see the statistics of listening. I also didn't know how to interpret that
Okay.
because we had 4 subscribers in Angola.
Yeah.
Or 4 listens, was it? Either way, that when I saw that on the there's a map of the world, and you could click on the countries that like they were highlighted of, you know, it was like 80% U.S., 10% Canada. I don't know, it was like 70% U.S., like 15% Canada, a chunk in like UK, like, you know, the countries that you would expect to listen to podcasts. And there were 4 in Angola. I didn't know Angola existed until I saw that.
That's awesome.
That was disrespectful. I apologize. That's not true. I think I knew Angola existed. But I was like, what does that mean then?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's that supposed to do?
Here you are, the conduit from Angola to the Chicago music
But
scene.
there,
You know?
but there's no way that wasn't a bot, right? Like, there's no way.
Who knows?
I could not wrap.
Maybe it was some teenager
Then there, yeah, right.
with a one internet connection. I don't know if that's true. That's also
like
disrespectful.
yeah, right. Like, like we could either, you know, order new water source on Amazon or listen to this podcast. You know, like no, but like there's like weird statistics about that, or like I don't know, like I never understood that, and then I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna look into this because it's just gonna depress me because they didn't get the. I mean, some got good ratings or listens, but then some didn't. That would bum me out. So I'd try not to.
Yeah.
You know, do you know how this does?
I have no idea. Never looked.
You don't look
I don't
on
look.
purpose.
I just don't.
know?
I'm disinterested.
Yeah.
It's unimportant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just unimportant.
Yeah.
I told myself that if when I get to 100 million views, I'll monetize it. So that's my arbitrary number.
Yeah.
100 million. We're halfway there.
Oh,
if my
man.
clicks all counted.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, those are things like that's what I've been enjoying doing. That's why I enjoy this most. Also, it's this is an indulgent sort of thing. Speaking this way, I've mentioned this before about how seldom do you get these conversations, especially now that the DZ home is no longer a thing. I was spoiled with these sorts of conversations for longer than a decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
And adulthood has finally set in, and I suppose I'm alone with my thoughts most of the day now. Whereas before, I would just tell people all day. I would bend people's ear, you know, like you must listen to me.
Yeah.
So it's an indulgent thing
Yeah.
to talk this way, and that's why I enjoy it most because people reveal themselves. You
Yeah.
just ask.
Yeah. That's 100% for sure. There's like magic that happens that like you just don't care about talking about stuff, or you start talking about stuff you never thought you would.
I mean, yeah. How often in your day does someone like, "How are you doing?" I'm okay.
Yeah.
And you move on.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what I do sometimes? It doesn't happen all the time, but you know, you walk up to like the counter of your local bagel store or whatever. How you doing? Good. How you doing? Okay, what can I get for you? I'll take a poppy. How you doing, sir? You know what? Not that good, but the
Yeah.
day's gonna get better. Or how you doing, sir? Well, I just filled up my gas tank. It's the weekend. We got this. You know, like
Yeah.
I've overshared. Not again. It doesn't happen every time. You got to read the room, but it'll throw people off because they're just expecting the. All right, how you doing?
the
Okay, good."
pleasantry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like to just give them like a momentary. You don't want to go on a jag about it, but to give them 3 sentences or 2 sentences of honest. How are you doing? A little tired. Didn't get that good sleep. Or how you doing? I'm wearing my favorite pants, so I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
You know, like to just give them that is fun.
That's
you know?
awesome,
And
yeah.
working in retail, when I did, it was appreciated, or it was, you know, more than,
Yeah.
you know, the base
Some
line.
sincerity.
Yeah, sincerity goes a long way sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I was guilty of that when I was serving as a bartender and server. I would ask people. I still do it to this day. I just ask them what they're thinking about.
What are you thinking about?
What
What's
are you
on your
thinking
mind?
about? I think I
That's
stole
good.
that from Larry.
That's
So I just said,
good.
"What are you thinking about?"
Yeah.
You know, I ask children that. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
scary,
Yeah, yeah.
but
I ask my son that sometimes too.
yeah,
That's funny, man.
And,
What's the age range you're teaching?
high school.
High school.
Yeah,
Yeah, from freshman
Freshman to
senior.
senior,
Do you
yeah.
notice a difference? Like, are the freshmen different than the senior? Are they all just assholes? Or are none of them assholes?
so truthfully, none of them are assholes.
Yeah?
Some of them are difficult, but none of them are like
Yeah.
outright jerks,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
So
Oh, man.
I don't know that I could handle a jerk.
Yeah.
I might put one in a headlock. A jerk in a headlock, that is. But really, they're great.
Yeah.
The kids are the saving grace of the profession. It turns
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Are we gonna be okay?
Are we going to be okay? I have this theory that despite all of the technological upheaval and the humanity's search for purpose and meaning, this generation of children is the next generation of the 60s, like an artistic generation, a renaissance. I think that the humanity has been searching long enough. While I don't know what it is or how it will happen, I get the sense that the younger generation, younger than myself, I'm still pretty young, but children of this generation have their finger on some pulse that myself and other people are not attuned to. And it's just a theory, but I believe it to be true.
I think I agree. Not that I'm in your field or anything, and I don't, so I don't like associate with high schoolers or whatever, but they seem to be a little more turned on to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Not as insulated.
Very much.
I think of that one gal, what's her name? Greta, is it?
Greta Thunberg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think my generation would have produced that one, Or
Perhaps
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. That's a really broad general.
Were you
generalization,
ever that angry though as a teenager? I imagine you were, because you've seen the videos of her, like livid with life and like existentialism.
Yeah, but it was all. If she's that, I went like that.
Right.
I went inward.
Yeah, but it was there. It
was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. You ever see the movie Zeitgeist, the documentary Zeitgeist?
So no.
Don't let your Hugo watch it till he's like 25. Not that it's like gory or bad or whatever, but
right.
it might have the same effect on him that it had on me, which is like take all of my money out of the bank.
Oh no.
And like hide it under my bed and loathe the inception of the Federal Reserve and that sort of shit at an early age can be detrimental. The hearing how that was all formed.
Oh man.
So, but like I was pissed. I was like 18 years old and just like so pissed. Like I've got no hope. There's no hope for anyone. It's all rigged.
Man.
You know.
But I think every generation has gone through that. Like I could see like, you know, the kids of the 70s being like, man, it's just no way. There's no way we're surviving the 80s. 1984, man, it's coming, you know, Big Brother.
Yeah.
Like every generation has their version of that at least. I have a really half-assed thought slash, not a theory, but like a deep, dark thought. Maybe it's a fantasy. But I don't know how to say it without sounding like a complete maniac. So help me out here.
Okay.
Communism. I want it. I crave it sometimes. Sometimes I crave communism. Let me give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
I know how insane that just sounded. So let me give you an example. When this stupid phone breaks, inevitably it will break, or the technology will be obsolete, or whatever. I'm one of those where, like, sometimes, like, the options are overwhelming. Just give me a phone that works. Let me send my texts. Let me doom scroll, and let me, you know, that's it, please. So if the government or if a being was just like, here's your government-issued phone, it works. It'll never fail you.
Yeah.
It'll always work, and you will always have service. Thank you. Or a car. I drive a 2002 GMC Envoy that at any minute will explode. It's just, like, give me a government-issued car that will not break down. You'll need tires every year or two or whatever, but the gas will get you this. The radio will work. And when it breaks, you go to the government-issued. I keep saying the word government. It doesn't have to be government, but you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
I want things to work.
Central.
I don't like planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence that gets me angry because it is them working against us it is them juicing us to
Yes.
like till we are dry. And I hate that so much. So maybe that's that I should, instead of saying I want communism,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or like pants. Just give me some pants that fit. This is all I want. I
Yeah.
don't want, like, sometimes I'm like, when I'm thinking about what I want to wear that day, I'm just like, can I just put on like the same drab color? And I find out that most of my colors are drab because I just want the pants to fit.
So you just want this idealized drab society.
I want beige.
Everyone's
Give
wearing
me
olive
beige.
green or beige.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean that.
No, I know what
but
you mean.
there are like I have these micro moments where I'm just like, can this toaster just work? Instead of me having to sift through Amazon through 90 different options that are literally all the same, can it just work? I think the cell phone and the car are good examples. I'm on to
Yeah.
something there. I know this is
I think there needs to be some restructuring, no doubt, of allocating resources to more people more efficiently. But at the same time, I think there still needs to be rewards for innovation. So some split of the two. Obviously, what we have is not working. It
Yeah.
needs to be reinvented, re-realized.
yeah.
But there needs to be a reward for innovation somehow. I don't know what that is. Is it money? It's been money. Doesn't seem to work well.
Yes, but sometimes our ideas of an innovation is not like emojis. Emojis aren't innovative.
They're not innovative,
You know what? I don't see progress there, or like this, like a step that's this little we're acting like is, that big. It's
Yeah.
I'm regretting saying
You don't want to argue for it?
I'm pro.
I'm pro.
communist. It's planned
I'm
obsolescence.
going to make that the segment I share for the preview.
It's
Matt Bauer.
sometimes I crave communism. Like sometimes I just want to flip this switch off and not have to think.
Yeah.
And just kind of. I
It's,
don't know. I think that though when I'm at my most stressed, when
something just work. For me,
just
please.
please.
There's
work.
some fight back against planned obsolescence, like the Right to Repair Act, which is kind of a farce, but people have that thought.
Yeah.
So I don't know that there's a good way around it to avoid it.
No,
Like,
because of capitalism, because of dollar. Like,
everything's based on exploitation, all the way up, all the way down.
Yeah.
It's a shame, humanity. We've crafted this ridiculous.
That's
format.
that's why I totally understand being a sheep. I totally understand being just I wake up, I go to work, I pay my bills, I get married, I have a kid, I buy a house, I die. I totally understand that because it takes strength that I don't have, and it takes time that I don't think I have to rise above all that. I used to.
Is that when you had the paradigm shift of when you're living towards the end? Was that in the same time?
Maybe. You know what? Maybe. Man, I used to have a thing about pushing shopping carts when I used to go shopping.
You didn't like it?
I am not one of them. I am not gonna, push a shopping cart and be one of them.
What do you mean?
The sheeple. I'd have a basket. That was my rebellion. And I'm like, man, you're such a dummy, man. I'm walking around with gallons of milk on my arm and stuff. I'm like, just use a cart, you dummy.
That's a funny example.
In my head, it makes
Yeah.
sense. But you're right though. Living towards.
Mm-hmm.
Say it again.
The phrasing I don't like, but in your youth, you're living. You're growing and changing, and you're living towards a goal. Or an arbitrary goal, but then at some point in your life, you realize that you're moving towards the end, and you're living towards the end instead of away from the beginning.
It sucks that we peak physically at 20 something, because now okay, you hit 27 and you are the most. It will never get better unless you're I don't know, a bodybuilder or something. But for the most part,
The average, yeah.
And then then you got 60 years of just the decline. Your hair will never be as full, or you're.
Right. It's the old saying, youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah, man.
You know.
I think that's what I think about. Every conversation tackled around youth is always swimming in my head. I long for it. I hate it. I despise it. I have some of it still. Like all of that.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me.
I don't know that it goes away. Like we've seen it go away in other examples, but if you're still introspective at the age you're at, I feel like that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Used to hate like the people that would be like back in my day, or like you talk to someone about band. I saw that band back. Now I'm that guy for the most part. Like
Yeah.
you're becoming, or I could see some of that coming out. I don't know.
That's just your lived experience, though. It's invaluable.
Yeah.
That's what the youth wish they had
Yeah.
because they're just naive and they don't even know it,
Yeah.
which is silly for them.
Yeah.
They don't even know that they don't know shit.
Yeah.
It sucks
Yeah.
for you, for them. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely was one of those that like thought I knew everything at 16, and then of course knew nothing. And I thought I knew everything at 26. I didn't know a damn thing, and I think I know everything now at 37. I know nothing.
Yeah. But you know that now.
But at least I know that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Matt.
Did we land in this plane, Charlie?
We're going to land this plane for the sake of data on these.
Data.
I think I had to call it at 3:30. So we've spoken for 3.5 hours here.
Yeah, I'm just realizing that. Wow.
Normally, I would direct people to your website and your catalog
The
of work.
avocado videos up on Instagram. How
So,
about that?
Friends with Music on podcast or on Instagram
Yeah, at Friends with Music.
at Friends with
Yeah.
Music
Yeah.
for a soon-to-be revealed product of a catalog of 300 plus
Oh, Charlie.
works. Matt,
Man, why did you have to like put that out? Because now it's like, oh, you put it in my head.
it's necessary for humanity, for an archive of your youth, the youth of DZ Records, and what everything that stands for. Something much
Yeah.
larger than any one individual.
Can Ben do it for me though?
He's busy. Maybe
He
he
wants
can get
nothing to do with
He
it.
might be able to get you a what do you call him? Intern.
Yeah.
You know,
That's not a bad idea.
yeah, an engineer. But Matt, what must the people know? What must they understand? Our listeners.
Oh man. I don't know. I don't stop going forward is always good. Progression is always good. I know I'm a fuddy-duddy sometimes, but I understand that forward moving is the best way to move. Don't stop eating avocados for sure. I'm gonna hold you to that banana
I got you.
and peanut
I hope
butter.
I have banana.
And consume the arts. Always consume the arts. I don't know. Why'd you have to make me? Now I sound like a dummy. I
No,
don't know.
you're good. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on
Charlie.
the spot.
Charlie.
So, I'd like to thank you profusely, one, for coming to do this.
We really have been
And
doing this for a while.
we're going to have to touch base after the first 100 episodes of Friends with Music have been released so we can recap. But thanks again. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you, Charlie. A complete honor that you even mentioned this. I always secretly want to be on every podcast.
Okay, so I forgot to say this in the minutia of our conversation, but
No.
you are the podfather as far as I'm concerned. You introduced me and a whole generation
Stop
of
it,
listeners to
stop it.
podcasts, so thank you for that.
Oh, man.
But otherwise, yes, go
Yeah.
listen to Friends with Music, soon to be re-released.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you. All right.
Oh, man, I hope some of it.